Hollywood, starred as an agent. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction. So don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 451 Shooting Every Day. In the evening, Aaron hugged Yang Gongru and left the bar and returned to their residence. The streets were still bustling with people. Hong Kong is indeed a famous city that never sleeps. The nightlife is so rich. Yang Gongru put her arm around Aaron's waist. Aaron, is Hollywood cracking down on movie piracy? Of course they do. Otherwise, we spend so much money every year, and the MPAA has to do something. Aaron looked at her and said, piracy in Hong Kong seems to be very serious. Celebrities often call for a crackdown on piracy in newspapers. Yes, there are a lot of pirated copies of videotapes, LDs, VCDs, etc. I heard from my colleagues that the Hong Kong Performing Arts Association is going to hold a parade to support the fight against piracy. Aaron smiled. Parades and the fight against piracy are indeed a way. DVDs have been on the market for several months, and the DVD market in Hong Kong has developed rapidly. It was originally an effective way for film companies to increase revenue. Unfortunately, if piracy is rampant, it is robbing money from film companies. After returning to the mansion, Yang Gongru went into the bathroom to shower, while Aaron sat on the sofa and read the newspaper. The Oscar nominations have been announced, with Crescent Films' The English Patient, Sony Columbia's Jerry Maguire, and the sex book tycoon, Polygram's Fargo, Warner Brothers' French film Secrets and Lies, and Disney's Australian film Shining. The English Patient has received 12 nominations, leading the Oscar race. At the just concluded 47th Berlin International Film Festival, actress Juliette Binoche won the Silver Bear for Best Actress, while young actor Leonardo DiCaprio won the Silver Bear for Best Actor for Romeo plus Juliet. Aaron was surprised that the sex book tycoon was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. It seems those appeals from feminists and religious groups have had little impact. Furthermore, the sex book tycoon also won the Golden Bear in the main competition section of the Berlin International Film Festival. The judges at the Berlin Film Festival gave The Sex and the Bitch high praise. Milos Forman, the director of The Sex and the Bitch, uses fluent brushstrokes to not only depict the most extreme rebellious image of the 20th century, but also uses the personal life scenes of struggling under social turmoil and impact over the past 20 years to reflect the values, morals, marriage and religious views of contemporary Americans. The story of the male protagonist Larry Flint encompasses the price of love, reputation, and the fighting spirit of upholding freedom of speech. It should be said that this film is both a comedy and a tragedy, and its greatest value is that it makes the audience rethink the meaning of freedom. Larry Flint's life was full of lawsuits, and the events he experienced were complicated and exciting, but under the director's clever arrangement, the film's thread is very clear and the plot develops in an orderly manner. At the same time, the director also drew on Hollywood's secular narrative strategies in the film, dramatizing and refining the original material. In pursuit of a balanced story and objective, fair plot presentation, the director abandoned the depiction of Larry Flint's love affair with his wife, focusing instead on the courtroom and the pages of Hustler magazine. This unified structure effectively compensates for the story's inherent incoherence. The film depicts pornography tycoon Larry Flint using the publication of pornographic publications as a tool for free speech, which is his harmful nature. On the other hand, this tycoon, who purports to be a defender of freedom, also continually exposes the dirty work of the American judicial system and authorities, which is the film's radical aspect. From certain perspectives, Sex Tycoon also possesses a strong sense of realistic criticism. Larry Flint frequently engages in lawsuits over pornographic publications, which raise questions about the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The Larry Flint of Hustler pales in comparison to another Playboy founder, Hugh Hefner. Both were California-based pornography tycoons, but in Aaron's eyes, they were nothing. When Yang Gongru finished her shower and came to Aaron in a sexy silk nightgown, Aaron immediately put down the newspaper and pulled the girl into his arms. "No wonder you made such a splash in the Miss Asia pageant," Aaron said, reaching out to caress the girl's face and body. "Do you like it?" Yang Gongru put her arms around the man's neck and kissed him. During spring break, Can we go out for a few days? Aaron caressed the girl's soft body, a smile on his face. Of course, where do you want to go? Yeah, Yang Guangru closed her eyes, letting the man soothe her. Let's go to Japan. I want to soak in the hot springs there. I have several TV series to shoot this year. Okay, let's go to Japan. Aaron nodded, and then he carried Yang Guangru into the bedroom. Besides, going to Japan would also allow Aaron to see Norika Fujiwara, whose 34E figure was very attractive to him. Aaron quickly stripped off Yang Guangru's pajamas, then pressed himself against her, kissing her passionately. Yang Guangru clung to the man tightly, responding to Aaron's domineering kiss. While Aaron and Yang Guangru were enjoying a hot spring in Japan, a vicious gunfight erupted in North Hollywood, Los Angeles. At 9 a.m. in Los Angeles, two robbers, identified as Larry Eugene Phillips Jr. and Emil Dekper Matasaranu, robbed a Bank of America branch in North Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. The Bank of America branch in North Hollywood had 10 employees and 32 customers. Larry Eugene Phillips Jr. and Emil Dekper Matasaranu stole $303,305. During the robbery, one customer was struck in the head with the butt of an AKM rifle. A passerby discovered the robbery and alerted an LAPD patrol car. Following the gunfight, approximately 370 LAPD officers were dispatched to the scene. The shootout resulted in 14 injuries, 12 police officers and 2 civilians, and the deaths of 2 robbers. One robber actually shot himself, while the other, shot 27 times in the calf and foot, bled to death 70 minutes later, despite police not taking him to hospital. Although 2 bank robbers were killed, the total casualties still make this the bloodiest violent crime of the 1990s and one of the worst bank robberies of the 20th century. Aaron, soaking in a hot spring in Japan, was left speechless after learning about the bank robber shootings and the widespread gun violence in the United States. It's truly unsafe. Chapter 452. The situation is tension. In a villa in Shibuya, Tokyo, Aaron woke up with Fujiwara Norika in his arms. After a few days of touring Japan with Yang Guangru, she returned to Hong Kong to film a film. Aaron went to Osaka and then returned to Tokyo. Yahoo Japan, managed by SoftBank, is planning to go public this year on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, a subsidiary of the Tokyo Stock Exchange. Of course, Aaron wasn't staying in Tokyo specifically for Yahoo Japan, but for the Japanese gaming and manga market. After Sugan acquired Blizzard, it acquired its own gaming division. Japan, the world's second largest entertainment and consumer market after the United States, has a highly developed gaming and manga industry. Aoni-san, why are you suddenly interested in Pokemon games? Fujiwara Norika asked, perplexed, as she lay in Aaron's arms. Over the past few days, Aoni-san had someone gather information on a gaming company called Monster Games. Monster Games released the Pokemon Red and Green role-playing games last year. I'm trying to acquire the company that released that game, Aaron said, knowing the future value of the Pokemon IP. He certainly couldn't miss out. Really? Fujiwara Norika asked, unsure. By the way, I heard you're filming a movie, right? Aaron caressed the girl's 34E breasts, feeling the sensation. Fujiwara Norika smiled. Yeah, it's based on a Japanese manga. She was starring in the film adaptation of the manga of the same name, Cat's Eye Sisters. Dawn Group acquiring a Japanese gaming company, a company only a few years old, was certainly no problem. For Aaron, who had plenty of money, it was a piece of cake. In late February, Aaron, while in Japan, received a call from Jack Wells. What, you're going to Hong Kong? Yes, we're protecting someone. We're in Taipei and planning a trip to Hong Kong. Are you there? Okay, call me when you get there. Aaron couldn't understand why Jack Wells would actually step in to protect someone. After all, he was the boss of Angel International. However, since Jack Wells was coming to Hong Kong, Aaron naturally offered him a treat, so he returned home early. The moment Jack Wells' plane touched down at Kai Tak International Airport in Hong Kong, he immediately sensed the tense situation. The tarmac, the passenger gates, the immigration counter, the terminal, and everywhere in between were filled with British soldiers and police wearing berets, tight body armor, and armed with submachine guns. These soldiers, often working in pairs, patrolled relentlessly, their eyes fixed on everyone in front of them, their right index finger pressed firmly against the trigger of their submachine gun. Jack Wells frowned as he saw a British soldier and police officer shouting at a young, blonde, black-haired girl, clearly a Chinese tourist. "What a bunch of stupid, cowardly Brits," he sneered. "They're afraid of even a child?" The accompanying bodyguard chuckled. "That's just how Brits are." As a true American, Christian faith and a dislike for the British were essential. Jack Wells nodded. "Hong Kong is an undefended city, and the British are terrible at managing it. Just keep an eye on the triads, they're all minions of the British. They only do things in the shadows." Jack Wells himself wouldn't be providing personal protection. He knew Aaron was coming and had come to see him. After all, Aaron always visited Hong Kong for a while every year. What pleased Jack Wells and his group was that the patrolling British police were incredibly adaptable to the individual. They were very friendly and accommodating to the tall-nosed, blue-eyed European and American tourists. They were quite affable and accommodating to every request. But they were fierce and sullen to the dark-haired, yellow-skinned Chinese. They would yell at them in English if they were displeased, and if they didn't understand or responded, they would resort to physical force. That evening, Aaron had brought Jack Wells to the Tycoon nightclub in Tsim Sha Tsui East for some entertainment. "It's really magnificent." Jack Wells was a little amazed, and followed Aaron into the VIP room. After casually giving the lady who showed the way a few 500 Hong Kong dollar bills, Aaron sat down and said, "Who are you personally protecting?" Jack Wells shook his head. "Just a businessman. I followed you here because I saw you were here. After all, you come here every year, but Hong Kong is indeed a little nervous now." Aaron smiled. "What are you nervous about? We're just across the street from mainland China. As soon as July comes, the army will come to take over. Of course we can't rely on those British guys. There are countless triad organizations here, but they are all the work of the British." After a while, the waiter brought the drinks. Jack Wells took a sip and waited until the other party left before speaking. "Aaron, are you in trouble? I brought a lot of people this time. If there's anything, I can help you solve it. You know, the simplest and most brutal way is often the most effective." Aaron also took a sip of wine, was stunned for a moment, and smiled. "What can I do?" Jack Wells shrugged. "Hollywood broke the news that you borrowed $2 billion, and many newspapers said that you lost money in the financial market, and you came to Asia for a long time this time." Aaron lit a cigarette for himself. "These guys really care about me. The Asian financial market is very chaotic now. I do have some ideas." Jack Wells nodded. "Were you involved in Thailand before?" "Well, I invested about $200 million, but there was nothing to gain." "Okay, then do you have any trouble with your industry in Hong Kong?" Ever since Jack Wells was deceived by that man named Jordan Belfort, he has never been interested in the financial industry. Aaron spread his hands. "What industry do I have in Hong Kong? It's just a Heiho investment company. Besides, I'm in trouble, and it's trouble for other people when they encounter me." Jack Wells also laughed. "That's right, if other people dare to cause trouble to you, you will definitely take revenge on the spot. Even waiting for one more minute is disrespectful to you." Aaron waved his hand. "Okay, since you are here, you should have a good rest for a while. Hong Kong will return in a few months, and it's been very lively here recently." "It's quite lively." The person protected by Angel International this time is a shareholder of HSBC. I guess he came here for this matter. Chapter 453 Hong Kong Chief Secretary. The next day, Hong Kong's Anti-Piracy Alliance held a parade themed on combating piracy. Actors like Jack Cheng and Stephen Chow took to the streets, calling on the government to crack down on piracy. The artists hoped that the parade would highlight the potential dangers posed by piracy, raise public awareness of the industry's plight, and ultimately support intellectual property protection. Aaron, hugging Wang Xiuxin, watched the parade of Hong Kong artists and curled his lips. "You really hit the nail on the head. They're actually marching." Wang Xiuxin nodded. "I got the news in Taipei, too." Wang Xiuxin was in Taipei and had received the news, but she didn't participate in the parade. In support of the march, all cinemas in Hong Kong stopped showing films for a day, and radio stations stopped broadcasting records and music all day to support the fight against piracy. The Hong Kong Performing Artists Association is taking action in the hope that the government will take this seriously and that the Hong Kong film industry will fully cooperate. However, this march is not a protest. We simply hope to reflect the opinions of industry insiders through action and to awaken the public and society to pay attention to the film industry. The Hong Kong film industry was already in a slump, and now under the impact of factors such as piracy, it is truly at a critical juncture. A few years ago, during the heyday of Hong Kong cinema, 200 films were produced annually. Now, the number is less than half. and the number continues to decline. This result has directly affected the livelihoods of film and television professionals, forcing many industry practitioners to change careers to survive. Aaron kissed Wang Xiuxin on the cheek and sighed. A few years ago, Hong Kong's film and record industries held leading positions in Asia, but now they've been shrinking. Although the decline of Hong Kong's film and record industries is due to a variety of issues, rampant piracy is definitely a major factor. Wang Xiuxin nodded. Yes, there are fewer and fewer Hong Kong films, and everyone is very worried. Jack Cheng told reporters, if the piracy problem isn't solved, he might choose to emigrate, not because of 1997, but because of piracy. Aaron just smiled and changed the subject. I heard someone wants to acquire Media Asia Films. Piracy is a difficult problem to solve, especially in a place like Hong Kong. Yes, Hong Kong's Emperor Group. They acquired Feature Records 2 years ago and entered the record industry. Now, they want to acquire Media Asia Films and enter the film and television industry. Emperor Group, originally a watchmaker, now also has interests in finance, securities, real estate, and furniture. It's clear that after acquiring Feature Records, Emperor intends to enter the film and television industry. Aaron certainly remembered Emperor Entertainment Group, but it wasn't in his eyes. What about you? Are you thinking of selling Media Asia? Wang Xiuxin shook her head. No, Media Asia is doing so well now. They'll definitely reject Emperor Entertainment Group's offer. Well, are there any other problems? Not really, Wang Xiuxin said, kissing Aaron on the mouth. Media Asia has foreign investment behind it. Few dare to touch it. It's just that a film Media Asia is investing in is currently filming, and there are gang members causing trouble. Young and Dangerous 4, Invincible, a series produced by Media Asia and Best Partner, is currently filming in Hong Kong. The set was harassed by unknown individuals. Protection money, right? Aaron was well aware of this tradition in the Hong Kong film industry. More or less. Hong Kong has always been like this. It's very chaotic. After this year, it should be better. At the Peninsula Hotel, Aaron attended a ball attended by Hong Kong's top politicians and businessmen. This time, he brought Miss Asia champion Yang Gongru with him. It seems the boss of your ATV is planning to acquire the Furama Hotel, Aaron casually said, hugging Yang Gongru and kissing her. Acquiring a hotel at this time? Absolutely suicidal. It's Lee Sun Development, right? There's been a lot of reports in the newspapers, and I heard the premium is high. Yang Guangru's ATV is part of the Lee Sun Development Group. Lee Sun International, owned by the Lam Pak Hin family, is now primarily managed by Peter Lam, who previously pursued Wang Xiuxin. That Lam Pak Hin's eldest son, Lam Kin Ming, is a famous playboy in Hong Kong. I heard he had affairs with many of ATV's actresses and Miss Asia winners. Did that old man harass you? Lam Kin Ming is Lam Kin Ming's older brother. They're the same kind of people. But Lam Kin Ming's business acumen is so poor that he's given up on managing it, becoming a famous playboy in Hong Kong. Yang Gongru smiled and glanced at the brothers Lam Kin Ming and Lam Kin Ming, who are with Luo Xiaohu, Liu Luongshan, and others not far away. No, and I won't pay any attention to him, Yang Gongru said, holding Aaron's arm. Anyway, working at ATV isn't essential for me, Aaron nodded. But in his heart he was thinking about waiting until next year when the financial crisis hits and the Hong Kong real estate bubble bursts, and then trying to acquire Li and Fung Development. By then, Li and Fung's stock price would undoubtedly plummet. This year, Li and Fung wants to acquire the Furama Hotel, but even with all its cash, it won't be enough and will have to borrow money. The Furama Hotel is currently owned by the Fu Lorong family, one of the 4 great families of early Hong Kong and the gambling king of Macau. Well, wait a minute, Aaron said, seeing Governor Chris Patten. Aaron Jiu quickly clinked glasses with Chris Patten, the outgoing governor of Hong Kong. Hong Kong is an international free port, after all. Why is the environment so tense and the security so poor? Can't the mighty British Empire even manage this small place, huh? Patten was stunned. Aaron, has someone in Hong Kong offended you again? It shouldn't be. Europeans and Americans are looked up to in Hong Kong. Who would dare to offend a figure like Aaron Anderson? Next Media's Apple Weekly back then was a bloody example. Aaron glanced at it and said, I invested in a film company in Hong Kong, and I'm always being harassed on the set. Although you're leaving, can't you manage it properly? Aaron shook his head and said, Hong Kong is the pearl of the South China Sea after all. It's such a beautiful city, but now it's in a mess. With a population of less than 5 million, You have created hundreds of thousands of gangsters." Patton remained calm in the face of Aaron's ruthless ridicule, but someone interrupted. "This is inevitable. There have been people smuggling in over the years. They are the source." Aaron looked over and saw a pale, wrinkled old woman walking over. "Who is this?" "Oh. This is the Chief Secretary of Hong Kong." Chapter 454 The Last Governor. Because of this inappropriate sound, Aaron asked disdainfully, "Who is this?" Chris Patton replied, "Hong Kong's Chief Secretary." The Chief Secretary was also the Governor's Secretary, the future Chief Secretary for Administration, and the undisputed second-in-command of Hong Kong. Aaron glanced at him and said, "What's going on? When did a dog get in the way when people are talking?" Aaron was here to stir up trouble. Patton had messed with Hong Kong in his final days. How could Aaron not stir up trouble? Although Aaron spoke quietly, the people nearby must have heard. The Chief Secretary of Hong Kong was Anson Fang. Because she married a woman named Chen, she had deliberately adopted a Western style, putting her Southern surname first, changing her name to Anson Chan Fang. This nonsensical name. Anson Fang's face immediately flushed at Aaron's reckless and insulting name. She raised a trembling hand and pointed at Aaron. Not only was Anson Fang shocked, but Patton was also astonished. He glanced at her, and the people around him walked away. Aaron's eyes changed. "If you point again, I promise to ruin your reputation. Do you think your master would turn against me for an old bitch?" He then turned to Patton. "Mr. Governor, what do you say?" Patton's face darkened as he stared at Aaron. "Enough is enough, Aaron. This is Hong Kong, a British place, not America." Aaron narrowed his eyes. "Oh, it's not British anymore." Then, with a smile, Aaron said, "What? You want to go against me too, just the last Governor General? How dare he offend the richest man on the Forbes rich list? And the man who controlled one of the world's largest media groups?" Patton took a deep breath, forced himself to calm down, and lowered his voice. "Aaron, it's just a small matter. What do you want?" Patton had been very upset recently because of Hong Kong's impending return. He really didn't want to get into any trouble with a top American billionaire like Aaron. Aaron took a graceful sip of his wine. "The film company I invested in is being targeted by the mafia. Deal with it as quickly as possible. Don't think you'll be done with just a few minions. That Hong Kong gang is called Loon Kun Lok. Get rid of them." Aaron wanted to make an example of someone. No one would dare covet Media Asia from now on. Patton sighed. "Aaron, this is just a small matter." Aaron smiled. "You should know how powerful I am in America. If this doesn't work out, I guarantee you won't be able to retire when you return to England. You have to understand that in a capitalist society, money reigns supreme." Patton's heartbeat quickened. He thought the other man was a lunatic. Was there any need to target him for such a small matter? "And, you, a dog. I don't like you." Aaron patted Patton on the shoulder and left, deliberately casting a disdainful glance at the British lackeys. Aaron's actions were extremely insulting. After Aaron left, Fang Ansheng approached Patton with an indignant look on his face. "Why is this American so arrogant?" Patton replied helplessly. "He's not even 30 yet, and he's worth over $10 billion. He's a key supporter of the U.S. president. He also controls the Dawn Group, Hollywood's largest film company. With financial resources, media, and political influence, why shouldn't he be arrogant?" "You heard what he just said. I don't care who owns Loon Gongli. You must destroy it as quickly as possible." After leaving the ball, Aaron and Yang Gongru left immediately, glancing back at the ball. PFFT, the governor. The next afternoon, at the U.S. Consulate General in Hong Kong's Central and Western District, Aaron and Jack Wells met with U.S. Consul Hubert Bowles. "Aaron, what's going on? I heard you embarrassed the British governor last night." Hubert Bowles smiled as he handed Aaron a glass of wine as he sat on the sofa. Before Aaron could say anything, Jack Wells, who was smoking a cigar beside him, laughed out loud. "Isn't he just the last Governor General? Now he's just an old dog without a home. Do we still need to be afraid of him? He has a pile of shit on his ass. We can deal with him by just going to the UK and finding some MPs and newspapers." Aaron took a sip of wine and patted Jack Wells beside him. "Hey, he is a governor after all." He looked at Hubert Bowles. "Hong Kong is now a no-man's land. Coupled with geopolitical factors, it can be said that it has attracted the attention of major powers. As the financial center of Asia, Hong Kong's international financial status is of course important. You are also aware of the current real estate bubble. My idea is to take advantage of the future bubble to enter the Hong Kong real estate market. If we don't deal with these British people, we can't do business. Britain ruled Hong Kong for a century and a half. Even after the return, its influence is still great, and the tricks it left behind are not so easy to deal with. Hubert Bowles nodded. This made sense. For people like Aaron Anderson, it was all about profit. Hong Kong's real estate market was a vast and lucrative market. British capital, along with Chinese capital backed by British capital, was all in this together. It's not going to be easy, Aaron. The market here is basically divided up. Hubert Bowles understood that even if the British left, they would still be controlling Hong Kong remotely. Government, finance, the judiciary, and so on, were all under their control. What's so difficult? Jack Wells stood up directly. Just deal with those stupid opium traffickers. As for the dogs they raise, do they dare to challenge us? Hubert Bowles smiled bitterly. You can't say that. The main reason is that Aaron's base is still in the United States. The situation in Hong Kong is still very complicated. Aaron waved his hand. Okay, has Chris Patton talked to you? Hubert Bowles nodded. We complained to me over the phone this morning, saying that you are too domineering. I'm domineering? Aaron shook his head. These opium traffickers take away 100 billion Hong Kong dollars in profits from Hong Kong every year. Now they are leaving, but they still refuse to let go. They are so greedy. Jack Wells glared. So much? Hubert Bowles smiled. According to our estimates, it's about the same. Over the years, the money that Britain has earned from Hong Kong is an astronomical figure. Jack Wells was amazed. No wonder Aaron attaches so much importance to Hong Kong. However, there are really many wealthy people in Hong Kong. Aaron waved his hand. Okay, anyway, the time has not come yet. When the opportunity comes, I will take action. Mr. Bowles, you don't want to be the consul of only one region, right? Chapter 455, Must Be Cautious. Macau, Hotel Lisboa. Aaron and Jack Wells sat in the restaurant enjoying lunch. I'm getting ready to go back home. When are you going? A few days. It's March now, and I expect to be back by the end of the month. I'll also be going to Southeast Asia. Jack Wells smiled. By the way, that Hong Kong triad leader you mentioned was hit and killed in Vancouver. A drunk truck practically crushed him. Recently, Hong Kong police have launched a devastating crackdown on the triad organization, Liang Li, arresting over 30 high-ranking members and killing 5. Aaron also had Jack Wells dispatch someone to take down Deng Xinglong, who had immigrated to Vancouver. Such a brutal crackdown is truly devastating. Aaron's eyes narrowed. Excellent. I'm sure those blind men won't dare to mess around like that again. Like a British dog, Aaron demonstrated with his actions that dogs have no human rights. Well, you do need to go back. It'd be good for Sugan's stock price. You used a $2 billion stock loan as collateral, which caused a lot of media misunderstanding, Jack Wells reminded him. Aaron nodded. Okay, you can experience the craziness of Las Vegas and Macau these few days. In the future, as China develops, Macau will definitely surpass Las Vegas. By the way, when is the Venetian Resort in Las Vegas expected to open? Not until the year after next. 2 weeks before the Oscars, Aaron finally returned to the United States and immediately gave an interview to CNBC in Los Angeles. Burbank, Sugan headquarters. Aaron leaned back in his chair, his expression gleefully fixed on FNC, Fox News. It was reporting on the Phoenix Lights incident in Phoenix, Arizona. Thousands of people witnessed a V-shaped array of lights in the night sky. Although some explain that these lights might be flares or helium balloons dropped by warplanes, the incident still garnered widespread attention and discussion. With the launch of MSNBC and FNC, two 24-hour news channels, Time Warner CNN has taken a hit. The future of cable news will no longer be dominated by CNN. Huh? Aaron let out a long breath from his chair, loosening his grip on Christiana Yeri's hair. After a while, Christiana Yeri crawled out from under the table and swallowed. You are really busy. Aaron smiled refreshedly. What's so busy about? I just went out for a while, and the newspapers dared to say that I was going bankrupt. Christiana Yeri tidied their clothes and sat in Aaron's arms. Newspapers like to talk nonsense. Look, the Phoenix incident was reported by the newspaper as the arrival of aliens. Aaron smiled, stretched out his hand and rubbed Christiana Yeri in his arms. I heard that the DreamWorks and Paramount collaboration Armageddon is about to start shooting. Right, yes, the preparations for Armageddon were completed faster than our Armageddon. After all, Armageddon and Armageddon have the same theme. DreamWorks' Armageddon was budgeted at just $75 million. Directed by Mimi Leder, it's the first major disaster film helmed by a female director. Furthermore, Armageddon is Mimi Leder's second feature film. Has the lead actor for Armageddon been confirmed? Aaron asked. Armageddon boasts a $140 million budget and is Michael Bay's third directorial venture. Well, Michael Bay wants Kevin Costner to star in it, Aaron frowned. Is the post-apocalyptic sci-fi film he directed and starred in, The Postman, finished? Ever since Kevin Costner's Waterworld flopped 2 years ago, he's been completely focused on The Postman. Universal was originally eyeing him for the lead role in Air Force One, but due to unavailability, Harrison Ford was chosen. The Postman seems to be still in post-production. I heard Kevin Costner's cut is over 3 hours long, and Warner Brothers isn't very satisfied, Aaron sighed. As far as he knew, this apocalyptic film is based on the 1985 novel of the same name by American science fiction author David Brin. The film tells the story of a world that, after a full-scale war in 2013, has shattered all social order and modern amenities, leaving the people living in isolation. In a small northern American town ruled by a brutal tyrant, a wanderer discovers a junked car and begins a career as a postman, earning the townspeople's trust. Ultimately, he leads the community in a fight against the tyrant and ultimately secures their long-lost freedom. This is Kevin Costner's continued exploration of futuristic themes following Waterworld. It could be considered a companion piece to Waterworld. Aaron thought for a while and said, "It seems that Kevin Costner has no schedule to shoot a new movie for the time being." Christiana Yeri nodded, "That should be the case, so the producer and director are looking for a new actor. Action actor Bruce Wesley's our candidate?" Aaron was stunned. Bruce Wesley? Isn't he filming Edward Zwick's work The Siege? Yes, but he has a schedule later. The 12 Monkeys starring him is currently in theaters. Besides, he also has a French science fiction film, The Fifth Element, starring him to be released this year. It is the work of French director Luc Besson. After Luc Besson filmed Léon, the Professional in the United States, he began to prepare for The Fifth Element, the work with the highest investment in Europe. The Fifth Element is also a European science fiction blockbuster, shot by Luc Besson in the Hollywood style. Aaron smiled. Bruce Wesley does film quite a few films every year. He's certainly got a lot of energy. Besides, he's pretty famous now, so he's a perfect fit for Armageddon. Most importantly, Kevin Costner had experienced the flop of Waterworld, and the upcoming film, The Postman, was expected to suffer the same fate. Aaron was also worried about him starring in Armageddon. After all, Kevin Costner had already experienced the failure of 2 major films, so who knew what he would bring to this film? He had to be very careful in casting him. Chapter 456 Dawn Capital. With each of Dawn Group's business units on track and developing successfully, and with cash flow flowing smoothly, Aaron quickly established Dawn Capital to invest in other media supply chain businesses. He invested in entertainment technology companies like Dolby, which specializes in noise reduction systems, Dolby surround sound systems, and digital audio systems, and IMAX, which specializes in multi-projector large-screen projection systems. Subsequently, Aaron arranged for the acquisition of Bloomsbury Publishing in the UK. Dawn Publishing Group owns the large North American literary company Putman Publishing. Dawn Publishing's UK subsidiary had performed relatively well, but the main reason for acquiring Bloomsbury was because Aaron knew this secondary publisher was the publisher of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter novels. Aaron only knew that J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter novels had been rejected by numerous publishers, and ultimately Bloomsbury had taken over. The Harry Potter novels were incredibly popular. Aaron knew, but he couldn't recall the exact year of publication, but he did remember that it was this small British publisher. In Aaron's office at Dawn headquarters in Burbank, Esther Beckett reported to Aaron on the release of Jim Carrey's new film, Liar Liar. Liar Liar opened to $31.4 million over its first 3 days, he said. The movie is a hit, and Jim Carrey's performance is back to normal. Carrey's previous film, Kingsman: The Force Awakens, hadn't performed up to expectations, but Carrey's talent couldn't be underestimated. Aaron nodded. Liar Liar had indeed received rave reviews, with publications like The Hollywood Reporter and The Washington Post giving it positive reviews. They all agreed that Liar Liar was a passionate, joyous comedy that blended Carrey's energetic comedic talent with a gripping story. Finally, Carrey's role in the film was also commendable. Then, get Peter Weir ready for The Truman Show as soon as possible. Aaron leaned back in his chair. Jim Carrey's box office appeal was undeniable. Well, the Oscars will be held tomorrow night. Are you going to attend, boss? Aaron shook his head, not interested. How could the head of the Shugwang Group go to the Oscars? If he has time, he can just make an appearance at the Vanity Fair celebration dinner after the Oscars, provided that Shugwang's works have won major awards. Oh, by the way, have we completed the acquisition of the British Bloomsbury Publishing Company? Aaron has been coveting the Harry Potter series for a long time. Well, it's settled, and now Bloomsbury Publishing Company belongs to Shugwang. When you have time, compile a catalog of novels to be published by Bloomsbury Publishing Company this year for me. Aaron just wanted to know whether J.K. Rowling had completed Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I see. As the 69th Academy Awards ceremony was held at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles, The English Patient, produced by Crescent Pictures, won 9 awards at the 69th Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actress, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Original Score, Best Music, Best Art Direction, and Best Costume Design, becoming the biggest winner. The success of The English Patient made British director Anthony Minghella famous, and he became a big director sought after by Hollywood. Aaron also attended the Oscar night celebration party held by the Vanity Fair dinner at the Sunset Tower Hotel in Hollywood. Hollywood is a place that can make people famous overnight. Aaron glanced at Anthony Minghella, who was being interviewed by reporters not far away, and smiled at Sophie Marceau next to him. After finishing the filming of Louis Ziv's Mistress in France, Sophie Marceau returned to Hollywood to prepare to participate in the filming of City of Angels. Sophie Marceau spread her hands and said, The English Patient is indeed in line with the tastes and ideas of the Oscar judges. In the whole European region, Britain and the United States have the same cultural origin. You know, the United States speaks English." Aaron raised his eyebrows. "Anyway, The English Patient is the work of Dawn. 20th Century Fox must have regretted giving up on this script." Aaron was talking, and suddenly saw Leonardo DiCaprio not far away. The romantic film Romeo and Juliet starring him was quite successful. The North American box office was $46 million, and the global box office added up to $140 million. However, how can Leonardo DiCaprio's appearance compare to Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt and Keanu Reeves? It can only be said that the significance of Titanic is too important to him. Now, the filming of Titanic is basically completed, and James Cameron is mainly busy with the special effects of the movie. In fact, Titanic has too many special effects shots, and it is currently the largest digital special effects movie. "What is the box office of The English Patient now?" Sophie Marceau suddenly asked. Aaron couldn't help laughing. "It has exceeded $60 million in North America and has exceeded $100 million overseas. Now that it has won the Oscar for Best Picture, I believe there will be a wave of increase." Aaron couldn't help but be happy that The English Patient, an art film, could achieve such good results, with an investment of less than $30 million. According to the agency's forecast, the global box office will definitely exceed $200 million. Sophie Marceau stuck out her tongue. "Amazing. You know the science fiction film The Fifth Element, directed by Luc Besson?" Aaron nodded. "Of course. It was a collaboration between Gaumont and Sony Columbia. It cost a whopping $90 million, making it the most expensive work outside of Hollywood." The leading actor Bruce Willis last year starred in a science fiction suspense film 12 Monkeys, which grossed $57 million in North America and is still being released overseas, but its performance is very mediocre. Sophie Marceau bit her lip. The Fifth Element is also the most expensive film in the history of Gaumont Films. In order to cope with the impact of Hollywood commercial films, some French directors, led by Luc Besson, began to explore the commercialization of films. Léon, The Professional and The Fifth Element are both products that respond to the stimulation of Hollywood. The Fifth Element, will it be released in the summer? Yes, Gaumont will arrange for The Fifth Element to premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. There will be a grand publicity campaign at that time. Gaumont has invested heavily in this movie this time. Wait until the release." Aaron put his arm around Sophie Marceau's waist and kissed the girl on the face. "Dear, let's go back." Chapter 457, Give It to Charlie's. Of the 5 films nominated for Best Picture at the 69th Academy Awards, all but one, Jimmy Jack, starring Tom Cruise, was a Hollywood production. The remaining 4 films all have British ties. The English Patient and Secrets and Lies are both British feature films, while Shining is a UK-Australia co-production. Fargo was financed and produced by Polygram Films. However, Dawn is ultimately the biggest winner. Early in the morning, Aaron rolled off Sophie Marceau. Rest for a while, because then you'll be working with Nicolas Cage on the romantic film, City of Angels. Sophie Marceau breathed heavily, her chest rising and falling with each breath. She smiled and said, "Don't worry, being an actor is at least much easier than many other professions." Aaron reached out and caressed the woman's soft body, feeling her sensual and alluring form. Have the French also become fast-paced? Sophie Marceau sighed, a hint of resignation in her tone. It's all because of the fierce competition in Hollywood. Aaron smiled, but said nothing. When Aaron arrived at Dawn, his assistant, Esther Beckett, informed him that CVC was planning to sell its 20% stake in AMC. Oh, has Charles Dolan agreed with it on the price for MSG? Aaron smiled. Charles Dolan had previously stated his intention to acquire MSG in its entirety, so CVC's sale of AMC must be raising capital. Yes, I heard CVC is acquiring the remaining half of MSG from it for between $600 and $700 million. MSG's most valuable assets are Madison Square Garden and the New York Knicks. After all, they are historic landmarks located in the heart of Manhattan. Let's negotiate the price quickly and let Jovan Adams focus on it, Aaron said. Of course, Dawn agreed to let AMC fully own the network. After all, they were already expanding internationally. Combined with the vast supply of series Dawn could offer annually, Aaron was confident he could develop AMC into the most profitable cable network. Aaron wasn't just interested in AMC, he was even more interested in the USA Cable Network, which he co-owned with Paramount. Unfortunately, Viacom had no intention of selling its other half of USA. That evening, in a car on the Long Beach coast, Aaron leaned back in a chair with his arm around Liv Tyler. "Why, do you need me for something?" Liv Tyler rolled her eyes and kissed Aaron on the cheek. "Can't I just talk to you for nothing?" Aaron lowered his head and pressed his lips against Liv Tyler's. He then reached into her underwear, feeling the softness. After the kiss, Aaron looked at the disheveled sexy girl in his arms and smiled. "Did you think about it?" Liv Tyler half closed her eyes and let the man ravage her chest. "It's like this. Universal asked me to shoot the disaster blockbuster Armageddon. You must know this project. Michael Bay's special effects blockbuster. The male lead is still Bruce Wesley, and there is Chris O'Donnell, and they asked me to play Bruce Wesley's daughter. Chris O'Donnell is the young male star who worked with Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman. He is also the actor of Robin in Batman Forever, and he will still play Robin in Batman and Robin, to be released this year." Aaron groaned as Liv Tyler unbuckled her belt. "Not bad. This act of the underworld is a $140 million disaster-themed blockbuster." Liv Tyler leaned close to Aaron. "I've read the script. My role is just a vase. I just played Stealing Beauty and don't want to take a vase role so soon. Aaron, I want to try out for an art film at Crescent Pictures." With that, Liv Tyler leaned over. "Huh?" Aaron exhaled, leaning back in his chair, and couldn't help but stroke Liv Tyler's long hair. "Okay, Crescent Pictures has a suitable role. I recommend you." Liv Tyler wasn't interested in a $140 million blockbuster like Act of the Underworld. It was probably because of the resources. Any other new actress would have been thrilled. Even if the protagonist of Act of the Underworld was Bruce Wesley, so what if the female role was just a vase? However, Liv Tyler was right. Her previous film, Stealing Beauty, showcased her sexiness and beauty to the fullest. It was understandable that she didn't want to continue playing the role of a vase in special effects blockbusters. After all, she was the daughter of Aerosmith's lead singer, Steven Tyler. "Well, thank you, Aaron." Liv Tyler looked up and smiled at Aaron. "It's my duty. It's a small thing," Aaron said, and touched the other person's head. Acted was about to start filming, and now Liv Tyler didn't want to act, so they had to quickly find another actress. Because she was playing Bruce Wesley's daughter in the play, she couldn't be too old. Aaron thought about it and felt that the role could be given to Charlize Theron. Although Aaron had intended to cast Charlize Theron and Catherine Zeta-Jones in the musical Chicago, director Rob Marshall, a newcomer, was slow to prepare. Filming on Chicago wasn't set to begin until winter, and Charlize Theron, at only 22, perfectly fit the bill, beautiful and sexy. After all, Aaron had indeed crashed her car the previous year, costing her the chance to star in The Devil's Advocate alongside Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. Then, after glancing at the prone Liv Tyler, he pulled out his phone and called his assistant, Estherine Beckett. "Boss, is there something wrong?" Aaron said in a low voice. "Yes, notify the crew of Armageddon. Let Charlize Theron try for the actress. Liv Tyler has other projects." "Oh, Charlize Theron. Okay, she has been practicing dancing recently to prepare for the filming of Chicago. There's no rush for Chicago. The release date is during Christmas next year, and the filming will not start until this winter. Armageddon is different. It's a special effects disaster movie. It will be released during the summer vacation next year, and it won't be long before the filming starts. Armageddon has a lot of special effects, and the post-production is a bit time-consuming. It has to start filming as soon as possible, and we can't waste time." After putting down the phone, Liv Tyler sat up a moment later, panting, and wiped her breath with a tissue beside her. She looked at Aaron and said, "You just said to replace me with Charlize Theron, right?" "Yeah, that's right," Liv Tyler smiled. "What a coincidence." Charlize Theron played a supporting role in the movie Unstoppable, directed and starred by Tom Hanks last year. Tom Hanks even praised her acting skills. Aaron also smiled. "So, you know each other?" Liv Tyler nodded. Chapter 458. Whether it fits or not, it's all hers. Indeed, Liv Tyler starred in Tom Hanks's film Unstoppable, which he directed and starred in last year, and Charlize Theron also had a minor role. However, Aaron certainly wouldn't be interested in such a work. Charlize Theron is only 2 years older than Liv Tyler, making her the perfect choice to play Bruce Wesley's daughter and acted. Burbank, Dawn headquarters. "Oh, it really exists." Aaron was shocked as he looked at the catalog of upcoming books from Bloomsbury Publishing that Ethelyn Beckett had prepared for him. J.K. Rowling's novel Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was prominently listed, and they had received the manuscript last year. Because J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter novel is a children's fantasy, Bloomsbury plans to release it this summer. Aaron wasn't in a hurry. He thought Putnam Publishing would release it in the US after Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone had launched in the UK. Aaron then leaned back in his chair. "Let's use this actress for the female lead in Peter Weir's new film, The Truman Show, starring Jim Carrey." He handed Cate Blanchett's resume to Esther Beckett. She graduated from the Australian Academy of Dramatic Art, and her war drama, Highway to Heaven, is coming out soon, and she just collaborated with Ralph Fiennes on the romantic drama, Oscar and Lucinda. Ralph Fiennes, who had just starred in The English Patient, was a global acclaim, an absolute artistic icon. Esther Beckett nodded. In The Truman Show, Jim Carrey and the plot were the biggest selling points. The other actors were unimportant. Since Aaron Anderson had recommended it, Peter Weir would definitely have no objection. Regardless of whether he had any actresses in mind, or whether Cate Blanchett was a good fit, the role was hers. By the way, Sony is planning to shoot a monster movie called Godzilla for Japan's Toho company, with an investment of $130 million. For the director, they chose Roland Emmerich. Roland Emmerich's Independence Day last year was so successful that it and Twister became the benchmark for catastrophic special effects blockbusters. The American version of Godzilla, Aaron knocked on the table. "We at Universal also have our own big monster, King Kong. Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World will be released this summer." Universal has no shortage of this type of work. Aaron now has no shortage of large-scale film and television IPs. He owns Marvel Studios, the Universal Film Library, and the Harry Potter series. The future of Shugwang is a smooth road. At the same time, a large merger and acquisition transaction also took place on Wall Street. The large diversified financial company Traveler Group acquired the fifth largest investment bank in the United States, Salomon Brothers, for $9 billion. Traveler Group merged its Smith & Bonnie company with Salomon Brothers. The newly formed Salomon Smith & Bonnie Company became the second largest investment bank in the United States. In addition, as DVD technology began to gradually enter the market, it challenged videotapes. Blockbuster, the largest video rental company, faced an even more severe test. Although DVDs had yet to fully embrace popularity and would take time to become ubiquitous, they had already demonstrated advantages over videotapes, including better picture quality, greater storage capacity, and greater ease of use. Consumers were beginning to develop a taste for DVDs. And Viacom quickly recognized the potential threat they posed to Blockbuster's video business. Less than 4 years after Summer Redstone acquired Blockbuster, its valuation had already fallen by a third. Viacom had also begun selling some of its shares, while Blockbuster was also considering how to respond to the challenges posed by technological change and whether to expand into DVD rentals. After all, with the expansion of its store count and intensified market competition, Blockbuster's operating costs had been rising. Expenses such as store rent, distribution costs, and employee salaries continued to increase. Aaron and Kate Beckinsale sat on a bench by MacArthur Park in the Westlake neighborhood of Los Angeles, admiring the lakeside view. The plan for The Mummy submitted by director Steven Soderbergh meets our requirements very well. The investment is not small either, with a budget of $80 million. Kate Beckinsale smiled. Well, I've been exercising recently, so high-intensity filming is no problem. Aaron nodded and took her hand. As for the crew, they are going to Africa to shoot, and it is estimated that the official start will be in July or August. You should also pay attention when the time comes. Filming in the desert is always a bit difficult. Kate Beckinsale kissed Aaron on the face. Don't worry, I'm fine. It seems that 20th Century Fox's disaster film Molten Fire will be released at the end of this month. The newspaper said that this is a disaster blockbuster that is benchmarked against Twister. Aaron shook his head casually. Molten Fire depicts the eruption of underground wildfires in Los Angeles. Isn't that nonsense? Los Angeles is not a crater city. Doesn't MGM also have a disaster film of the same type, Dent's Peak, which will be released in the summer? They're all just copycats. Last year, Warner Brothers released The 100,000-Year-Old, starring Sylvester Stallone. The film, about an undersea tunnel collapse, cost $80 million to produce, only grossed $30 million in North America. With $120 million overseas, the global total was $150 million, a massive loss. Remember, The 100,000-Year-Old was originally a Universal project, but Aaron Kwok got Universal to abandon it, and Warner Brothers took it over. While the plot was a bit boring, it's mainly because Stallone has lost his former chops, and every film he starred in has been a flop. Last year, The Vanishing, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, received mediocre reviews, but despite a $100 million budget, it still grossed $245 million worldwide. Furthermore, Schwarzenegger has one thing going for him: he can deliver compelling comedies. Stallone has no experience in other genres besides action films. With the emergence of new-style action movies such as Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves, and comedy action movies such as those by Will Smith and others, the market for old-school muscle action movies has become smaller and smaller in North America. If it weren't for Stallone's extremely high popularity and influence internationally, he wouldn't even be considered a first-tier actor in Hollywood. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459: Fox's Troubles. That evening, Aaron and Kate Beckinsale attended a Hollywood party at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. The Star Wars trilogy, produced by Lucasfilm and re-released by 20th Century Fox, has been a hit. Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope grossed $130 million in North America. Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back grossed $60 million in North America, and Star Wars, Return of the Jedi grossed $40 million. At the party, Aaron and George Lucas clinked their glasses. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace is about to start filming, right? George Lucas nodded. I will lead the crew to the British set in June or July. Aaron, are you looking forward to it too? Aaron nodded reluctantly. Which American doesn't like Star Wars? In the Star Wars prequels, Liam Neeson, the star of Schindler's List, and Ewan McGregor, who rose to prominence last year with director Danny Boyle's Trainspotting, played Jedi Knights. Natalie Portman, the young actress who became famous for her role as the little girl in Leon, the Professional, plays the Queen. The official start of filming for the Star Wars prequels this year has caused a huge stir in the United States. The Star Wars franchise itself is a widely influential cultural icon, and the announcement has ignited widespread media coverage. Newspapers, magazines, television, and other outlets have provided extensive coverage and feature articles detailing the filming schedule, cast, and plot speculation. Furthermore, the Star Wars franchise boasts a vast fan base with a deep passion and loyalty for the films, and the news of the prequel filming has sparked a frenzy of anticipation. Many fans even plan trips to the filming locations in hopes of glimpsing the sets or meeting the actors. Furthermore, with the re-release of the Star Wars trilogy, fans are flooding the screen with Star Wars merchandise, models, posters, books, and more. to express their love and support for the franchise. Aaron's biggest envy is the Star Wars merchandise industry, a model of commercial success. The news of the upcoming filming of the Star Wars prequels has spurred a surge in sales of Star Wars-related merchandise, including toys, clothing, and models. Furthermore, movie-themed tours, exhibitions, and other events have attracted large crowds, generating substantial commercial revenue, and businesses are rushing to release new products related to the prequels to meet consumer demand. George, you know, Star Wars is a cultural icon in America. It's not just the start of a film, it's the continuation and return of a cultural phenomenon. The Star Wars franchise, originating in the 1970s and 1980s, has long been a vital part of American pop culture, a nexus of youthful memories and emotional sustenance for a generation. Coupled with the unique sci-fi setting, captivating plots, and profound cultural connotations of the Star Wars films, it has become a crucial symbol of American pop culture. The start of filming on the Star Wars prequels heralds the continuation and expansion of this cultural phenomenon, fueling anticipation for its future development. It also evokes nostalgia for the good old days in the American imagination, triggering a collective emotional resonance. Consequently, many anticipate that the Star Wars prequels will continue the classic legacy while also innovating and breaking new ground in plot and special effects. Aaron certainly covets Star Wars, but there's no way around it. George Lucas won't let go of this golden egg. George Lucas smiled. Aaron, I didn't expect you to speak so highly of Star Wars. Aaron shrugged. It's hard to help. So many people are paying attention. I've certainly been following the Star Wars prequels, especially the film's innovative visual effects and the use of virtual photography. George Lucas nodded. That's definitely a challenge we need to address. Audiences have high expectations for our special effects. George Lucas's Star Wars series was already renowned for its groundbreaking visual effects. Special effects technology is constantly evolving, and George Lucas faced the technical challenges of showcasing even more grandiose interstellar scenes, alien creatures, and intense space battles in the Star Wars prequels. George, you, along with James Cameron and Steven Spielberg, are pioneers and leaders in the use of special effects in films. I'm confident you won't disappoint your fans, will you? Aaron smiled and patted George Lucas on the shoulder. Afterwards, Aaron and Peter Chernin, chairman of Fox Entertainment, came to the lounge area of the party. Aaron, Titanic is estimated to be released during the Christmas season. We hope that one can increase its publicity in the North American market. Aaron frowned. For Titanic, we have prepared nearly $30 million in North American marketing expenses. Do you think that's not enough? Peter Chernin patted Aaron. That's not what I mean. I just hope that you can participate more in the promotion of the movie. After all, you are the golden boy of Hollywood and the youngest billionaire in the United States. You are very popular among the people. Aaron sighed slightly in his heart. It seems that the senior executives of 20th Century Fox have been influenced by the media and have no confidence in James Cameron's Titanic. They are probably prepared for losses and now only want to reduce losses. Peter, don't be influenced by those newspapers and magazines out there. How often are the media's predictions accurate? James Cameron made groundbreaking films like Terminator 2, Judgment Day. You should have more faith in him. Besides, James Cameron helped you make Titanic without taking a penny as screenwriter or director, pouring all the funds into production. Well, if it were Aaron, he would definitely give him a normal salary. After all, whether he gets paid or not makes a huge difference in the post-production revenue sharing agreement. Really? I hope so. Peter Chernin was truly unsure. Of course, Don wasn't too worried. After all, Don currently held a top spot in Hollywood's box office market. Don's film returns were even more astonishing. A single failed film wouldn't have any impact at all. Chapter 460. A Free Place. Early morning at his Malibu beach house, Aaron stood on the balcony, gazing at the Pacific Ocean. The Lost World at Jurassic Park is coming out next month, and Universal's promotional efforts don't seem as big as the previous one. Kate Beckinsale, draped in a men's shirt, sauntered over. Aaron smiled. That's fine. After all, with the popularity of the first film, the toy manufacturers will cooperate with their promotion. The Jurassic Park theme park at Universal Studios will also be hosting a series of events. Aaron pulled Kate Beckinsale into his arms and kissed her. The previews for The Lost World at Jurassic Park weren't as good as the first one. Aaron regretted continuing to let Steven Spielberg direct the sequel. Spielberg hadn't put any effort into it. The first one was the highest-grossing film worldwide. It's normal, it can't compare. Kate Beckinsale raised her head and kissed him, offering comfort. Jurassic Park grossed $970 million worldwide, a record. Really? Aaron smiled, reaching into the woman's blouse, feeling the softness. Liar Liar surpassed $100 million at the North American box office in just 4 weeks, demonstrating Jim Carrey's continued appeal. He's even more prepared for his role in the literary drama The Truman Show. New York, Manhattan, Dawn Building. Dawn Group acquired a 20% stake in AMC Cable from CVC. CVC is also actively negotiating with it to acquire its stake in MSG Group. At the end of the 1996-1997 NBA regular season, the Chicago Bulls finished first in the league with 69 wins, while the Magic, without Shaquille O'Neal, only won 45, ranking 7th in the Eastern Conference. The Utah Jazz finished first in the Western Conference with 64 wins, the Houston Rockets second with 63 wins, the Phoenix Suns fourth with 56 wins, and the Los Angeles Lakers 7th with 40 wins. Aaron leaned back in his chair and smiled. I can't believe the Rockets' first-round playoff opponent is the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, Aaron wasn't worried about the Lakers at all. A short while later, Cate Blanchett arrived at Aaron's office. She'd come to New York, first to promote Highway to Heaven at the New York Film Festival, and secondly, to participate in the filming of The Truman Show. How was your meeting with director Peter Weir? Aaron asked, letting her sit on his lap. Blanchett smiled. Yes, I did. Director Peter Weir was very pleased with me. How could she not be satisfied? After all, they were fellow Australians. I'm glad he's satisfied. I'm sure the director approves of your acting. Thank you, Blanchett said, putting her arm around Aaron's neck. It's rare to work with a Hollywood star like Jim Carrey, especially since The Truman Show isn't a comedy, it's a serious work. Peter Weir, the director of such masterpieces as Dead Poets Society, was also involved. Well, Aaron touched Cate Blanchett's thigh. Wait for me at the hotel. We'll have dinner together tonight, okay? In the afternoon, Aaron met with his investment manager, Edgar Irving, in his office. Edgar Irving had recently met with major American investment banks like Merrill Lynch and Goldman Sachs to handle Aaron's $2 billion loan. The Thai baht, Philippine peso, Indonesian rupiah, Malaysian ringgit, these Southeast Asian currencies will all depreciate, Aaron nodded. I'm not too concerned about Southeast Asian currencies and stock markets. When the time comes, international hot money will rush in. And they won't be able to stop it. I'm concerned about South Korea now. When the Southeast Asian financial crisis breaks out, all the funds will be directed towards South Korea. South Korea, Edgar Irving thought for a moment and nodded. Not long ago, Hanbo Steel, South Korea's second-largest steel company, went bankrupt, and foreign capital has begun to withdraw from South Korea. Aaron smiled. Last year, South Korea finally joined the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development and borrowed a large amount of short-term foreign debt from the international community. South Korea's corporate foreign debt is getting higher and higher, and large South Korean companies are investing all over the world with these US dollars this year. The Federal Reserve began to tighten its monetary policy, and US dollars are not so easy to borrow. These South Korean companies are just waiting to go bankrupt. Samsung started to make cars, Daewoo expanded into former Soviet countries, and built factories from Eastern Europe to Central Asia. Kia launched a large-scale attack in the United States. Edgar Owen said, at that time, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, will cooperate with Wall Street to control South Korea's financial markets, thereby controlling the entire South Korean economy. Aaron knocked on the table. I don't want much of those chaebols in South Korea. When the time comes, Cheyenne Fund will target Samsung Group, whether it is direct ownership or control through local banks in South Korea. What I want is shares of Samsung Group. Edgar Owen smiled. Boss, you are very optimistic about Samsung? Aaron nodded. My biggest bet is on Samsung Electronics shares. It's the one within the Samsung Group that interests me the most. I see. Well, the last international attack on the Thai baht failed. When will the next one happen? Next month, international hedge funds, led by Quantum Fund, will launch an attack. After this period of media hype, I'm sure more international hot money will get involved. Okay, after sweeping Southeast Asia, let's move on to South Korea. Forget about the rest. Aaron wouldn't join in the fun in Hong Kong, Japan, or Russia. The Southeast Asian wave, combined with South Korea, would be enough to keep him satiated. Besides, by then, It wouldn't be long before the euro was officially launched. The name of the euro was officially adopted in Madrid in December 1995, and its circulation wasn't far off. Once the euro was launched, NATO would launch the Kosovo War, hindering the EU's development, and the euro was bound to fall. That evening, Aaron took Cate Blanchett to Greenwich Village on Manhattan's West Side. As New York's multicultural hub, Greenwich Village is the heart of American counterculture, a place artists, radicals, and rebels have called home since the late 20th century. Cate, this is the freest place in New York. Aaron and Cate Blanchett sat in a small cafe in a bustling alley, sipping authentic Italian coffee. Really? There are so many cafes here. After finishing their coffee, Aaron and Cate Blanchett kissed and left, ready to find a bar. Chapter 461 The Taste of Being Famous. In a Greenwich Village jazz bar, Aaron and Cate Blanchett sat on the sofa, sipping cocktails. Aaron, Crescent Films The English Patient seems to be doing really well at the box office, right? Yes, it is. It's taken in over $70 million in North America, and it's even better overseas, at $150 million. Not only did The English Patient dominate the Academy Awards, it was also a box office success. With a production budget of just $27 million, it grossed over $220 million worldwide. Ralph Fiennes and Dawn have collaborated on several films, Cate Blanchett exclaimed, having just collaborated with Ralph Fiennes on the romantic drama Oscar and Lucinda. Ralph Fiennes is quite good. He has the classic British actor's temperament and solid foundation. You know, Hollywood actually likes these British-style actors. Most British actors come from the theatre industry, with excellent dialogue and facial expressions, and a genuine London accent, which makes them more popular with audiences. Compared to many American actors, British actors have an inherent noble aura. After all, most American actors come from smaller cities, and their accents are messy, not to mention their cultural literacy. Cate Blanchett smiled. No wonder. I know you're surrounded by many foreigners, especially women. Aaron kissed Cate Blanchett on the cheek. You too. The next day, after climbing off Cate Blanchett's body, Aaron went to the Dawn building to meet Monica Bellucci. Honey, why are you so anxious to see me? Is there something important? Aaron asked Monica Bellucci after hugging her in the office. Last year's hit movie Twister made Monica Bellucci famous in Hollywood, and the scientist she played was very popular. Monica Bellucci smiled, and took the initiative to sit in Aaron's arms, hugging the man's neck. Remember the Italian director Giuseppe Tornatore? Of course. Aaron smiled while hugging the sexy and plump Monica Bellucci. This is a foreign director I knew when I debuted. However, in the past few years, he seems to have only released one new Paradise, New Star? Monica Bellucci in Aaron's arms kissed Aaron on the face and nodded. Yes, he has very few works. However, she has a project she wants to develop recently. Giuseppe Tornatore recently wanted to adapt a novel by Italian screenwriter Alessandro Barrick, 1900, a monologue. It tells the story of an abandoned baby on a cruise ship who was picked up by a shipworker and named 1900, who accidentally became connected with a piano, and eventually became a piano master and spent his whole life on the ship. The story aims to reflect the repressive historical realities of early 20th century Europe, a reflection of the political society of the time. The protagonist, 1900, rejects rules and refuses to enter public life, which also means this political life is empty. After listening to Monica Bellucci's narration, isn't this the same The Legend of 1900? It seems that Giuseppe Tornatore has not disappointed. The story is very captivating and profound. If Giuseppe Tornatore were to film it, Crescent Films would definitely support it. Directors like Giuseppe Tornatore, despite their limited output, each one holds profound meaning. While not commercial, their films possess a strong artistic atmosphere, making them rare masterpieces. After all, Giuseppe Tornatore has previously directed 3 films, Cinema Paradiso and A Family Trip, both of which are exactly what Aaron wanted. Imbued with a strong humanistic touch? Then, Aaron, have you agreed to let Crescent Films participate in this film? Of course. You can tell Giuseppe Tornatore directly that Crescent Films supports him. Let him prepare as soon as possible. Aaron didn't care about the investment in just an Italian film. Crescent Films originally invested in and distributed independent films and overseas works. Giuseppe Tornatore's project certainly met the requirements. By the way, Aaron, director Giuseppe Tornatore's friend Roberto Benigni is filming a feature film. It's set against a backdrop of the brutal persecution of Jews by the fascists during World War II. telling the story of a Jewish father and son sent to a concentration camp. Roberto Benigni, who directs and stars in the film, is Italy's most popular comedian. What are your thoughts on his new film, Life is Beautiful? Aaron thought for a moment. Is it about the Holocaust? Something like that, but it's about a naturally optimistic Jewish father who uses his imagination to make his child think the concentration camp is a game, preserving his child's innocence and childlike innocence. Sounds very creative, Aaron said, seeming to recall the film. Life is Beautiful was a comedy with tragic undertones. The Italian film only cost about 5 or 6 billion lire, which works out to about 3 or 4 million US dollars. After all, the US dollar is currently trading at over 1,500 Italian lire. We Have a Crescent Films purchased the North American distribution rights for Life is Beautiful. Aaron didn't really care, but he remembered that Life is Beautiful had received a lot of acclaim and performed well at the Oscars. He glanced at the sexy woman in his arms, Monica Bellucci. Your fame in Italy is almost undeniable now, isn't it? Last year's Twister grossed $500 million worldwide, second only to Independence Day, which grossed $820 million. Monica Bellucci kissed Aaron on the lips. It's all thanks to you. After Twister came out, as soon as I returned to Italy, I was hounded by countless media outlets, and advertisers kept coming in. Now, Monica Bellucci had truly tasted fame. You deserve it, Aaron said, covering her mouth and caressing her 30-60 breasts. Monica Bellucci responded enthusiastically, lying down on the sofa. Aaron pressed down on the woman, kissing her while he peeled off her shirt, revealing Monica Bellucci's alluring beauty. Well, Aaron, is there anyone coming into the office? Monica Bellucci, cradling her head on the sofa, spoke hurriedly, biting her lip. Don't worry, no one dares to come into my office, Aaron replied in a muffled voice, pressed against Monica Bellucci's chest, enjoying the gentleness. Chapter 462 Hollywood Image. With the release of 20th Century Fox's disaster film Molten, directed by Mick Jackson and starring Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Heche, it opened to a mere $14.5 million. Critical reviews were mediocre, with most media outlets giving it negative reviews. With a production budget of $90 million, it was a sure loss. Meanwhile, Dawn Global began filming its disaster blockbuster Armageddon, with a $140 million budget, showcasing Dawn's unwavering commitment. Bruce Willis's 12 Monkeys, released late last year, also grossed $57 million in North America and $110 million overseas, proving once again that Bruce Willis is more than just an action star. In Bowling Green Park, at the intersection of Wall Street and Broadway in Manhattan, Aaron gazed at the Wall Street Bull. The sculpture, measuring 4.9 meters long, 3.4 meters high, and weighing 3.2 tons, was created by an Italian artist in late 1989. It was originally placed outside the New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street, but was later relocated here. I can't believe a bronze bull statue can attract so many visitors every day. Aaron shook his head, bewildered. It really is true that you have to be strong yourself to become a trendy thing. Ever since the Wall Street Bull statue was installed, bronze bull statues have become popular near stock exchanges around the world. Jennifer Connelly, standing nearby, smiled and said, New Yorkers love it. Jennifer Connelly had accompanied Aaron to the Amazon IPO meeting today. Amazon will officially list on the Nasdaq next month. Let's go, Aaron said, taking a quick look before returning to his car. Back at the Dawn building, Aaron went to his office. The Rockets' second-round playoff opponent is the Seattle Supersonics, right? Yes, they've already won a game. The Rockets were 3-1 ahead of the Lakers in the first round, so there wasn't much pressure to win. Aaron was more worried about the Utah Jazz in the Western Conference. However, with Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley, the Rockets were definitely a strong contender against the Jazz's star duo of John Stockton and Karl Malone. Hasbud Adams completed the paperwork for relocating the Houston Oilers to Nashville, Tennessee, Aaron asked. Even though he owned an NBA club, he still harbored a hankering for an NFL team. There were no NFL clubs in his Los Angeles area, and the NFL team in Houston had also moved away. Yet, the formalities are done, and will be becoming the Tennessee Oilers this season, Aaron sighed as he flipped through the script in his hand. NFL clubs are only allowed to private owners, and the number of transactions is too small. Jennifer Connelly smiled. Don't worry, the NFL now has 30 teams. The Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore before, but left behind the team name, trademark, and history, After the Baltimore Ravens were established, Cleveland has been applying to reorganize the Browns. Now the Houston Oilers have also moved, and Houston also wants to rebuild a team, and Los Angeles, such a big market, don't you also want to build a new NFL club? Aaron nodded. A big market like Los Angeles cannot do without an NFL club. The main problem is the venue. As long as the NFL agrees to add teams, Aaron still has a way to solve the stadium problem. Isn't it just spending money to build a new one? The Man in the Iron Mask, written and directed by Randall Wallace, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Aaron came across a film project based on Alexander Dumas' novel, The Man in the Iron Mask, which also features the Three Musketeers. Randall Wallace, the screenwriter of Braveheart, is now directing, and they're hoping Leonardo DiCaprio will play the lead. Jennifer, the script for The Man in the Iron Mask is great. Crescent Pictures might invest, go tell S3 Beckett, by the end of this year. After the release of Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio will be a global sensation. The Man in the Iron Mask shares similarities with Romeo and Juliet, and he's confident Leonardo DiCaprio won't disappoint. Okay, Jennifer Connelly said, kissing Aaron. I'm going to Georgia to film. If you need anything, call me, okay, at night, in Manhattan, in an apartment on the Hudson River on the Highline Park. Aaron, naked, hugged Winona Ryder and stood by the window, admiring the night view of the Hudson River, the two wrapped in a blanket together. Shakespeare in Love is a great script. I've reserved time for it, Winona Ryder said, leaning into Aaron's arms. Not so fast. Edward Zwick is filming other movies. Our film Shakespeare in Love will start shooting next year. After filming Alien 4, you seem to have become lazy again. Aaron smiled, put his arm around the girl and rubbed her chest. No wonder the newspapers called you the lazy queen. Winona Ryder shook her head. It's not like that. I recently got a project. It's just a romantic comedy written and directed by Woody Allen. Woody Allen. Aaron kissed Winona Ryder on the cheek. Give it up. Don't have anything to do with him. This guy just got engaged to his adopted daughter Song Yi, and he was so condemned by public opinion. He's shameless. Aaron still admires this kind of guy who has no ethics or morals. Winona Ryder nodded. Woody Allen's personal reputation had plummeted to a freezing point, and the public was resentful and hostile towards him. Woody Allen's work was also affected by the incident, with many viewers viewing his films negatively because of it. You don't like him? Winona Ryder smiled. It's disgusting to see. The Hollywood scene is already filthy, especially the independent film scene, but at least everyone else should have some dignity and respect ethics. This guy is a beast. Hollywood's image has been ruined by these guys. Aaron's Dawn Group now has huge interests in Hollywood, and they must maintain Hollywood's glamorous image. The dark side should be kept on the back burner. Hollywood's image needs to be improved. People like Woody Allen and Roman Polanski should all go to Europe. Okay, don't be angry. Winona Ryder kissed Aaron. Chapter 463 The World's Largest IP. April in New York was transitioning from winter to spring, and the temperature was gradually warming, but still below 20 degrees Celsius. The morning was overcast and rainy. Aaron, waking up, glanced out the window and thought, it's raining again. Yeah, it's rainy season in New York. Winona Ryder, who was in Aaron's arms, glanced back and continued to lie down. Aaron caressed the girl in his arms. I heard you're going to be a guest star in Friends Season 4, right? Yes, one episode, playing one of Rachel Green's lovers. Winona Ryder smiled. I'll be kissing America's sweetheart, Jennifer Aniston. The ratings for Friends continued to rise, and more stars were invited to guest star, further increasing the show's appeal. With the arrival of May, Sony appointed Howard Stringer as chairman of Sony America, overseeing Sony's U.S. operations and the global film and music entertainment division. After all, Sony did not invite former Disney president Michael Ovitz to the position. Sony Pictures Entertainment also spent $2 million to purchase the rights to Thunderball from producer Kevin McGrory. MGM objected to this development, as it was a Bond film based on a script by Ian Fleming, but was unable to stop it. MGM already had Thunderball in its 007 portfolio, but later, McGrory collaborated with Warner Bros. On Cruising Missile, billed as a James Bond spin-off and starring Sean Connery as James Bond. However, MGM has never acknowledged Cruising Missile as a Bond film. Now, Sony Pictures Entertainment has purchased the rights to Thunderball from McGrory again, leaving MGM feeling extremely uncomfortable. MGM has strongly objected to Sony's plans to adapt Thunderball, given the inherently complex nature of the copyright. Interesting. MGM's Tomorrow Never Dies is about to be released, and Sony Pictures is also looking to capitalize on the James Bond phenomenon. Aaron leaned back in his chair in his office at the Dawn building, flipping through the newspaper, unable to help but grumble. Meanwhile, two former Carlock shareholders, Mario Casale and Andrew Viner, had acquired the rights to Terminator 3 from the bank. Meanwhile, Sony Pictures Entertainment was looking to make its own James Bond film. These Hollywood people are quite shrewd. With the arrival of the summer movie season, Universal's long-awaited sequel, Jurassic Park: The Lost World, held its grand premieres at the Museum of Art in New York and Universal Studios Los Angeles. Director Steven Spielberg's fourth-longest dinosaur sequel, Jurassic Park: The Lost World, opened in 3,281 theaters across North America, grossing $74.6 million from midnight screenings and the three-day opening weekend. But compared to its predecessor, the reputation of the sequel Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World is mixed. The Hollywood Reporter. From a positive point of view, the sequel Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World provides the audience with a lot of comedy material, and the epic narration in the film has become the highlight of the Jurassic Park series. From a negative point of view, the actor's performance is not as good as the previous one, especially Julianne Moore's performance, which is disappointing. Houston Post. Technological reflection is the theme of Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. The concept of denying commercial supremacy and the invincibility of technology runs through the entire film. The film insists on the value of harmonious coexistence between humans and dinosaurs from beginning to end. It shows humans' high care for dinosaurs and care for the natural ecology. Los Angeles Times, an underestimated film. As the plot develops, you will find that the content of the film is getting better and better. The San Francisco Chronicle wrote, "The Lost World of Jurassic Park is both joyful and tragic, because it lacks a key element of Steven Spielberg's adventure films, a compelling character." The Washington Post wrote, "The Lost World of Jurassic Park clearly lacks both logic and depth, and its characters are one-dimensional and lack a sense of depth." In Burbank, Los Angeles, Aaron, returning from New York, had been following the blockbuster. After all, the box office for Jurassic Park: The Lost World was decent, though not as good as its predecessor. However, the critical reception of Jurassic Park: The Lost World left Aaron somewhat dissatisfied. The visual effects and set pieces are good, the dinosaurs are realistic, the natural scenery is spectacular, and the action is rich. Those are the film's strengths. However, the numerous plot holes, the lack of thematic depth, and the one-dimensional characters are all weaknesses, Aaron said to Don Steele, leaning back in his chair in his office. Don Steele nodded. Fortunately, the film's performance met expectations. However, director Steven Spielberg has confirmed he won't be directing a third installment. Aaron found this unsurprising. Spielberg had directed The Lost World and Jurassic Park precisely because of the enormous financial benefits. He had never been fond of directing sequels. Such a great IP must not be wasted. The script for the third installment must be carefully adapted. In addition to the original author, Michael Crichton, we should find some experienced screenwriters to participate in the adaptation and return to the main theme of the story, dinosaurs. Aaron would not give up Jurassic Park, Universal's current largest IP, even if Steven Spielberg and Michael Crichton stood to reap significant profits from it. Regardless, Universal would undoubtedly be the biggest beneficiary of the Jurassic Park series. Don Steele thought for a moment and said, "Then let Steven Spielberg step back and serve as the producer of Jurassic Park 3. However, Steven Spielberg is currently directing Saving Private Ryan, and DreamWorks is in its development phase. He will definitely be getting busier and busier, just like when Tim Burton directed Batman for Warner Brothers and it was a huge success, but after Batman Returns fell short of expectations. The third film, Batman Forever, was directed by Joel Schumacher, and Tim Burton himself stepped down as a producer. That's fine. Steven Spielberg never minds using his fame to make money. How many film producers does he have listed as his own?" Aaron shook his head. "This guy is a typical Jew who puts profit above all else." Chapter 464 Population and Market. In mid-May, hundreds of international hedge funds, led by Quantum and Tiger Global, launched a fierce attack on Thailand's stock and foreign exchange markets. After the initial testing of the waters in February, everyone understood the weakness of the Bank of Thailand and its insufficient foreign exchange reserves. Faced with the aggressive international speculators, the Thai government intervened, using its foreign exchange reserves to sell US dollars and buy Thai baht. It also collaborated with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, Hong Kong, and Malaysia to intervene in the spot market, spending money to buy bot. It also strictly prohibited domestic banks from lending bot to international speculators and significantly raised overnight lending rates. Of course, the Thai government also had to contend with the international speculators' propaganda and information manipulation, including coercing and inducing Thai banks to provide customer information on forward foreign exchange contracts, threatening to crack down on media outlets that published unfavorable news, and police began tracking down those who published negative news. California Plaza II in downtown Los Angeles. Los Angeles has few skyscrapers, only a few in the downtown financial district and Century City, after all, in an earthquake zone. In the office of Charles Johnson, chairman of the Franklin Templeton Foundation, Aaron sat on a sofa admiring the Los Angeles skyline. Looks like the banks are going through another wave of mergers and acquisitions, Aaron sighed, gazing at the nearby First Intercontinental World Center, across from the Los Angeles City Library. The building might have to change its name. However, Los Angeles residents generally refer to it as the Library Building. After all, it's the tallest building in California. Charles Johnson smiled. Are you talking about Wells Fargo acquiring First Intercontinental? Wells Fargo and First Intercontinental are both large regional banks in California. Last year, Wells Fargo acquired First Intercontinental, becoming the 9th largest commercial bank in the United States. First Intercontinental is a bank holding company with $58 billion in capital and 1,133 branches across California and 12 western states. Wells Fargo successfully launched a hostile takeover bid for $11.6 billion. Although Wells Fargo has grown significantly since acquiring First Intercontinental Bank, to save costs, they've cut over 5,000 jobs, or over 11%, in the 6 months since the merger. Wells Fargo is currently facing numerous issues, such as incompatible computer systems and long queues at its remaining branches. Furthermore, the two banks' service models differ significantly, resulting in the loss of many elite business leaders and customers. As of now, Wells Fargo's deposits have decreased by 1.5% per month, its loans by 3%, its stock price has plummeted, and its market value has lost over $4 billion. Charles Johnson knew that Su Guang had always done business with Los Angeles-based First Intercontinental Bank. Now that Wells Fargo, headquartered in San Francisco, had acquired First Intercontinental Bank, this would undoubtedly have little impact on Su Guang. Su Guang was still their valued client. Aaron stood up and stretched. Why would I care? Is there no problem in Thailand? Charles Johnson also stood up. Don't worry, international hot money and investors are pessimistic about the Thai baht. How much can the Thai government's limited foreign exchange do? Seek support from other Asian countries. Each one is in the same turmoil as Thailand, so how much help can it provide? But you've actually invested $2 billion in the Southeast Asian market. That's quite bold, Aaron smiled. It's a rare opportunity, of course I can't miss it. That evening, Aaron met Wang Xiuxin at Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills and then went to the Wilshire Grand Hotel for dinner. Come to the United States now? Is something going on in Hong Kong? Aaron asked, sipping his wine. Wang Xiuxin shook her head. No, Hong Kong is still the same, but as July 1st approaches, the environment there has become increasingly depressing. This time, I went to the mainland and planned to open a garment factory in Shenzhen. Garment factory, manufacturing industry, Aaron nodded. It is feasible. The mainland has a large population and has huge advantages. You should also understand the current situation in Southeast Asia. By then, low-end manufacturing will be transferred to China in large quantities. What's more, China is also working hard to negotiate with various countries to join the WTO. By then, it will be the time for China's economy to take off. Oh, do you also know about the clothing industry? Aaron smiled and shook his head. I don't know the details. In Southern California, the number of people employed on the clothing industry is declining. Since the 1980s, Southern California, where Los Angeles is located, has become the largest clothing manufacturing center in the United States. At its peak last year, the number of employees exceeded 100,000. Starting this year, the U.S. federal government and the California government have raised the minimum wage, which has increased the costs of local clothing manufacturers. Everyone is moving to low-cost developing countries. The number of people employed on the clothing industry in Los Angeles is declining sharply. Wang Xiuxin nodded. Well, labor is cheap in mainland China. which is suitable for this kind of concentrated labor industry. That's why I have this plan. You want to do business now. Doesn't it mean you're not focusing on filming? Well, I don't really want to film anymore. I'll also help Media Asia Film Company if needed, Aaron thought for a while. Okay, if you don't want to film, don't film. It's not bad to do the clothing business. You can also co-found large department stores in mainland China, introduce some European and American brands. I can help with this, Aaron said, spreading his hands. With his current status, it was too easy. Anyway, I'm going to start a clothing production business, and then develop a chain of branded stores would be a good idea. Wang Xiuxin smiled awkwardly. I'm not thinking that far ahead. I'm just thinking about opening a clothing factory first. After all, I've never run a business before. I invested in Zinc VCD, but I don't manage it. As for the audiovisual store I invested in, it's not doing well either. Right now, piracy of cassettes, CDs, and VCDs is really rampant. Aaron wiped his mouth. Don't worry, let's take it one step at a time. The shift in manufacturing is a global trend. Southeast Asia will suffer huge losses this time. China has been developing well in recent years and is eager for foreign investment. Investing there is not bad. There's no shortage of market and population. Aaron thought again and thought he could acquire a chain store and expand into China. By the way, what do you think of that Saks Fifth Avenue department store you often go to? Yeah, it's nice. I really like the clothes there. Okay, I plan to acquire this chain of department stores when the time comes. Chapter 465 He crossed a line. Saks Fifth Avenue is a renowned century-old American department store and one of the world's top department stores. The store carries a wide variety of products, including mid to high-end brands, clothing, shoes, bags, jewelry, cosmetics, skincare, and home goods. Saks Fifth Avenue is incredibly famous in the U.S. Do you want to buy it? Wang Xiuxin, lying on top of Aaron in a hilltop villa in Hollywood Park, kissed him as she spoke. Why not? After all these years, we've only just started in the U.S., with over 30 stores. We don't even have any in Canada, let alone Europe and Asia. Aaron caressed the woman. Saks Fifth Avenue has a vast selection. When the time comes, we can go public and raise funds, and expand internationally. I can support you opening stores in major cities like Hong Kong and Taipei first, and then in mainland China like Beijing and Shanghai. As for other, more ordinary cities, it's probably out of the question. After all, Saks Fifth Avenue is a boutique department store and needs financial support. Yes, Wang Xiuxin nodded, then kissed Aaron passionately. Because Aaron was busy recently, Wang Xiuxin didn't spend much time in Los Angeles and flew to Vancouver, Canada. With Amazon's IPO, its valuation reached a staggering $430 million. At MPAA headquarters in Beverly Hills, 8 major Hollywood MPAA members, Warner Brothers, Universal, Disney, and MGM, held a meeting on DVD regulations. With the official entry of DVD technology into the U.S. market, the MPAA, as the film industry's representative organization, actively promoted the adoption of the DVD format by major Hollywood studios. The 8th MPAA member studios also began producing DVD versions of a large number of classic and new releases. Of course, with the rise of DVD technology came the problem of piracy. The MPAA stepped up its efforts to protect DVD copyrights and instituted a series of measures to combat piracy. It collaborated with law enforcement agencies to launch special operations targeting the production, sale, and distribution of pirated DVDs. Furthermore, the MPAA encouraged film companies to adopt encryption technologies, such as CSS and CGMS, in DVD production to prevent pirated copies and protect the copyrights and economic interests of the film companies. Furthermore, the MPAA has established a series of industry rules and regulations for the DVD industry, covering aspects such as production quality, packaging design, and content labeling. These regulations ensure the quality and consistency of DVD products and promote the healthy development of the DVD market. For example, DVD packaging must clearly indicate the film's rating, duration, director, and cast, making it easier for consumers to understand the product. Finally, the MPAA has always been committed to maintaining a rating system for film content, and this applies to the DVD market as well. Released DVDs must strictly adhere to the MPAA's rating standards, G, General, PG, General Guidance, PG-13, Special Guidance, R, Restricted, and NC-17, no viewing for under 17. This allows consumers to understand the appropriateness of the content by looking at the rating labels on the packaging when purchasing DVDs, helping parents and consumers make informed choices and regulating content sales in the DVD market. The DVD Alliance, comprised of manufacturers such as Sony, Philips, Panasonic, Pioneer, Hitachi, Toshiba, Mitsubishi, JVC, and Thomson, also develops DVD standards. To prevent illegal copying and protect film copyrights, the DVD Alliance has introduced DVD region codes, which are managed by a dedicated organization. The DVD region coding protocol uses a regional identification code system that divides the world into 6 distribution regions. When implemented, the region coding system owns both DVD discs and DVD players. Each DVD player can only play DVDs from that region, except for global encoding. Aaron shook his head after seeing the DVD region code. 1 represents the United States and Canada, 2 represents Japan and Western Europe, 3 represents Asia, excluding mainland China, 4 represents Central and South America, New Zealand, and Australia, 5 represents Africa, Russia, and Eastern Europe, and finally, 6 represents mainland China. In a cafe on Rodeo Drive, Aaron and MPAA chairman Jack Valenti sat across from each other, enjoying coffee. It seems everyone is quite concerned about VCD products in mainland China. Aaron smiled. The DVD Alliance has set standards for every aspect of DVD production, completely blocking the way for DVDs in China. Jack Valenti shrugged. China invented the VCD, but we don't have patents, only the chip part. How can that be enough? DVDs are an upgraded version of the VCD. In the future, every DVD machine manufactured in China will have to pay a hefty royalty. This time, your 8 major film companies are showing tremendous support for DVDs. Aaron stroked his hair. DVD's advantage over videotapes is obvious. Anyone with a sense of humility knows that the future home market will be dominated by DVDs. We just want to sell more movies, but the cost and storage of videotapes are completely unbeatable. Didn't you see that even Paramount supports it? Besides, videotape chains like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video are becoming increasingly rampant. Once DVDs become popular, supermarkets, convenience stores, and any other store will be able to stock them in large quantities. After all, DVDs are much cheaper. Blockbuster won't be able to achieve the same dominance they did during the videotape era. Jack Valenti nodded. He was well aware of the tussle between chain stores like Blockbuster and Hollywood studios. Negotiations over the profit-sharing model were ongoing. DVD technology is still developing, and widespread adoption will take time. Manufacturers are still trying to cut costs. Home entertainment in the US still relies primarily on videotapes, Aaron remarked. It won't be long, just 2 or 3 years. Just look at the development of VCDs in China. With the increase in manufacturers, costs will undoubtedly continue to decline. If it weren't for the DVD Alliance these guys created, Chinese manufacturers could have helped popularize DVDs in a year. Jack Valenti smiled without comment. This was due to the different priorities of the film companies and the DVD Alliance manufacturers. The film companies focused on selling discs, and of course, the more people who owned DVD players, the better. The DVD Alliance manufacturers were different. They relied on selling DVD players to make money. Without the high patent fees, the low costs of Chinese manufacturers could crush them. Forget it, let's not talk about this anymore. Anyway, our Shuguang works are the most popular right now. Whether it's videotapes or DVDs, my say is more than enough. Now, I want to talk to you about Woody Allen. Jack Valenti also became serious. Aaron, what do you mean? Aaron narrowed his eyes. He crossed a line. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466 The Drug Addict. Woody Allen certainly went a bit too far this time, and it's having a negative impact on Hollywood's image, but he has a strong network and status in the independent film industry, and his talent is undeniable, Jack Valenti said after a moment's deliberation. Aaron spread his hands. So what? Hollywood's image cannot be tarnished. If Hollywood doesn't respond in this situation, how will the public perceive us? Jack Valenti frowned. Aaron Anderson was now the most powerful figure in Hollywood, and his words carried immense weight. However, He also realized that his ambitions were enormous. Aaron, there's really no need. Right now, the film studios are pretty neutral about him. It's only the new independent film studios looking to break out that are looking to collaborate with him. His influence on us isn't that big. Woody Allen was a veteran Hollywood independent director with complex connections and a strong Oscar following. Dealing with him was bound to be controversial. Aaron smiled. Hollywood needs to have an attitude and respond to people with such absolutely no ethics or morals. So what do you mean? For at least 10 years, his works can't be nominated for an Oscar. Isn't that too serious? Most of Woody Allen's works have little commercial value. The Oscars are his capital. Not being nominated, isn't that a ban? Not serious, Jack Valenti sighed. Then let's keep it secret. I'll handle this with the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. As he spoke, Jack Valenti glanced at Aaron in front of him. Aaron, your current status is higher than Howard Hughes's back then. Stay in Hollywood, and your achievements will grow. Don't invest too much in the aviation industry like Howard Hughes did. Aaron knew that the other party must be reminding him because of his $2 billion investment in the financial field. Mr. Valenti, don't compare me to a drug addict. Aaron shook his head. The entertainment industry is a growing market, not just in North America but also internationally. The MPAA will continue to leverage the WTO to pry open the doors of film markets around the world. Early last year, after the United States officially joined the WTO, it became the backbone. The MPAA, leveraging trade negotiations to join the WTO, has been able to penetrate various other countries' film markets one by one. Using the WTO as a pivotal point, and supplemented by Hollywood's massive demand for film sources, the MPAA has been able to flood Hollywood productions around the world. This blatant export of culture has naturally made many countries uncomfortable. France, the European Film Center, has proposed a cultural exception, arguing with the United States that cultural products are not equivalent to ordinary commodities. Subsequently, it has increased state funding to support the production and distribution of domestic and non-U.S. films. In recent years, the economies of Asia-Pacific, Latin America, and other regions have flourished, gradually liberalizing trade and lowering tariffs. This has created favorable conditions for Hollywood films to enter these markets and expand their global market reach. Now, with Russia, China, and Eastern European countries also integrating into the process of globalization, Hollywood can seize this opportunity to enter these emerging markets and continue to expand its global influence and market share. This is the MPAA's job. Otherwise, the MPAA would collect a lot of revenue annually from membership fees, ratings fees, consulting and training fees, political grants, and other sources. If it doesn't help Hollywood profit, why would Hollywood studios, led by the 7 major film groups, pay the MPAA? Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Aaron brought Catherine Zeta-Jones here for vacation. The Cannes Film Festival just ended, and you don't care at all now. Catherine Zeta-Jones, leaning on Aaron's arms on the beach, couldn't help but remind him. It's no big deal. Look at Summer Redstone and Rupert Murdoch. Don't they rarely attend these events? Aaron shook his head. Right now, his primary focus was on steering Dawn's development, though films were a priority. Aaron only needed to ensure the development of Dawn's film projects, the others would handle the details. Catherine Zeta-Jones kissed the man. You suddenly brought me to Jacksonville this time, so it's probably more than just a vacation, right? Aaron nodded and smiled. I've made an appointment to meet with NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue to discuss adding an NFL club to Los Angeles. Catherine Zeta-Jones shook her head. The Los Angeles Rams and Los Angeles Raiders left in the past 2 years. You want to add one now? It won't be that easy. Aaron shrugged. Who knows? That evening, Aaron met with Paul Tagliabue at a beach resort in Jacksonville. Oh, Aaron, you want to build a new NFL team in Los Angeles? Paul Tagliabue wasn't surprised. After all, Aaron Anderson already owned an NBA team, the Houston Rockets, and it was doing quite well. Yes, ever since the Rams moved to St. Louis and the Raiders to Oakland, we haven't had a football club in Los Angeles. That's not good news for the people of Greater Los Angeles. Aaron took a sip of his drink. Now, if Los Angeles residents want to go to a football game, the closest team is the San Diego Chargers. Paul Tagliabue nodded. The league has always been optimistic about the Los Angeles market, but you know the situation in Los Angeles. Aaron knew why the Rams and Raiders moved. As for the stadium, I believe it can be solved as long as the league allows me to form a team. Aaron's confidence was simply a matter of money, wasn't it? The Rams and Raiders had moved because the Los Angeles government wouldn't support them renovating their stadium, let alone building a dedicated new one. The Houston Oilers moved to Nashville, and Houston local businessman Bob McNair is also seeking from the league to form a local Houston football club. And in Cleveland, the Browns moved to Baltimore and became the Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland owns the trademark and name of the Browns. It's not so easy to form a new NFL team. It requires a vote from all members of the league, Paul Tagliabue said, glancing at Aaron Anderson. This requires everyone to discuss together, and you must have a practical plan to impress the league. To put it bluntly, if Aaron wants to form an NFL team, the first thing to solve is the venue problem in Los Angeles, and an action plan must be put forward. Chapter 467 Sports Industry. Aaron leaned back in his chair, tapping the table lightly with his fingers. A practical plan? Not a big problem, but now, what I need more is the league to give me guidelines for forming a team. Paul Tagliabue shook his head. This requires fair competition. It's not just Los Angeles that wants to own an NFL team now. The same goes for Houston and Cleveland. They are cities that have had NFL teams before. Besides, the NFL already has 30 teams now. There are a lot of things to discuss if we want to add more teams, Aaron said. Didn't the MLB League also add 2 baseball teams, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays and the Arizona Diamondbacks? Besides, these 2 teams will officially join the MLB League next year. Paul Tagliabue smiled slightly. I am very much in favor of forming an NFL team in Los Angeles. After all, the market in Los Angeles is too large. Right now, the performance of the NBA's Los Angeles Lakers and the MLB's Los Angeles Dodgers are mediocre. Forming an NFL team can compete for the market, but the NFL League is not up to me alone. The committee needs to investigate and evaluate. Paul Tagliabue took a sip of the wine in front of him. Also, Aaron, you're not the only one who wants to form an NFL team in Los Angeles. Oh, Aaron said, now interested. Anyone else? Yes, your old acquaintance, former Disney president Michael Ovitz, PFFT. Aaron couldn't help laughing. Michael Ovitz, you said, he's capable of forming an NFL team, even if this guy got $120 million in severance pay from Disney, plus the CAA stock discount, it wouldn't be enough, right? Is there anyone else who would support him? Remember, NFL clubs are not allowed to be owned by companies, they can only be owned by private donors. Paul Tagliabue shrugged. Michael Ovitz did approach me earlier this year and expressed this idea. My response to him was that the stadium issue needed to be resolved first, and he said he would seek assistance from the city government. Aaron waved his hand dismissively. The Los Angeles city government will definitely help. They also want Los Angeles to have its own NFL team, but the city won't pay. Otherwise, the Rams and Raiders wouldn't have left. The Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum was damaged by the earthquake, and the city government couldn't afford to repair it. The Los Angeles Raiders previously played at the Memorial Coliseum. How could Michael Ovitz convince the city government to repair it? Pasadena's Rose Bowl Stadium could indeed serve as a temporary NFL stadium, but new NFL teams would certainly not be allowed to use it long-term. After all, the Rose Bowl Stadium hosts so many events. Furthermore, the LA Galaxy, one of the 10 founding teams of Major League Soccer, MLS, which officially formed last year, already uses the Rose Bowl Stadium as its home ground. The 10 MLS teams in the Eastern Conference are the Columbus Crew, DC United, New England Revolution, New York Mets Stars, and Tampa Bay Rebellion. The Western Conference features the Colorado Rapids, Dallas Burn, Kansas City Wizards, LA Galaxy, and San Jose Earthquakes. Philip Anschutz is undoubtedly instrumental in the successful formation of MLS as one of its founders. He owns both the Galaxy and the Colorado Rapids. He also co-founded the San Jose Earthquakes and DC United. Nearly half of the 10 founding teams are related to him. Philip Anschutz initially sought Aaron Anderson's involvement, but was rebuffed. It will take at least another decade for MLS to become profitable. Paul Tagliabue hasn't made any promises to Aaron, but he's confident. Los Angeles is the second largest city in the United States. While the NBA has a long history with the Los Angeles Lakers, the NFL certainly wants a franchise in a market of this magnitude. It's nothing more than a problem of the stadium. Aaron will not be short of money in the future. He can just build a dedicated NFL stadium. In the future, the St. Louis Rams will not be able to return to Los Angeles again. In the evening, Catherine Zeta-Jones leaned in Aaron's arms. "Honey, you are very concerned about sports now. Well, think of it as an investment." Aaron kissed the girl on the mouth, feeling Catherine Zeta-Jones's sexy body. "By the way, I heard the Premier League is doing pretty well right now." "Right, yes, it's doing quite well. Sky Sports spent £670 million British pounds this year to acquire the domestic broadcasting rights for 4 seasons of the Premier League. When the Premier League was first established, Sky Sports won the 5-season rights for £304 million British pounds after a frantic bidding war. Many people didn't think it was a good idea, but now it's making a killing." Catherine Zeta-Jones smiled and pinched Aaron. "Why, do you want to enter the Premier League?" Rupert Murdoch had indeed rapidly developed Sky TV through the Premier League. Fox Sports officially launched last year. Fox's ambition to compete with ESPN in the sports industry was clear. Why is the Premier League open to foreign investment now? Aaron knew the British well. Those opium traffickers prided themselves on being civilized and gentlemanly, cherishing tradition. Many Premier League clubs have a long history and don't take foreign investment well. It's difficult, but recently, the Egyptian businessman Mohammed Al Fayed acquired Fulham, a third-tier club in the English Football League. You know, in addition to the Premier League, the English Football League has 3 more levels of leagues. Moreover, Mohammed Al Fayed is also quite famous in the UK. His son Dodi Al Fayed is Princess Diana's current boyfriend. Last year, the news that Dodi Al Fayed, Princess Diana, and Princes William and Harry were on vacation at the beach together was sensational. Aaron was a little speechless. The third level, in addition to the Premier League, the English Football League now has the first, second, and third level leagues, which correspond to the future Championship, League One, and League Two respectively. So, the current Fulham is equivalent to a League Two club, 3 levels away from the Premier League. The third-tier league, to enter the Premier League, you have to be promoted 3 levels in a row. Aaron shook his head. "Can't you just buy a Premier League club?" Catherine Zeta-Jones looked up. "Why don't you give it a try?" Next week, Dortmund from the Bundesliga and Juventus from Serie A will play the Champions League final at the Munich Olympic Stadium in Germany. Why don't we join in the fun and take a trip to England? Chapter 468 Limited Support. Aaron was very tempted by Catherine Zeta-Jones' proposal, as he was well aware of the Premier League's enormous commercial potential. However, English football has a strong local ties, with a rich history and deep roots in local culture. Football clubs are often closely connected to their local communities, forming an integral part of their culture and identity. Furthermore, local fans have a strong sense of belonging and loyalty to their clubs, preferring to see them owned by local people to preserve their traditions and unique character. Consequently, they have a deep attachment to their club's history and culture, and are concerned about the cultural impact of foreign acquisitions. Furthermore, many English clubs have long been family-run, and these families have a deep sense of affection and responsibility for their clubs, viewing them as family businesses. They prefer to manage and develop their clubs independently and are reluctant to sell them to foreign investors. Finally, the English Football League, with its strict entry rules and regulatory framework, is cautious about the potential risks of foreign acquisitions. The league's governing body is concerned that foreign acquisitions could lead to financial instability and violate league rules, and therefore conduct stringent scrutiny when approving foreign acquisitions. All of this is done to better protect the interests of English football. Acquiring an English football team is still quite difficult, especially one with a massive fan base like the Premier League. Aaron would definitely want to go all in and buy a Premier League club directly, preferably in London, the country's economic and cultural centre. After all, Dawn Global International's European headquarters is located in Buckingham, near London. However, given the current difficulty in acquiring Premier League clubs, Aaron didn't want to waste time and preferred to establish a new NFL team in Los Angeles. After returning to Los Angeles from Jacksonville, Aaron approached the mayor and city council, who were fully supportive of his idea. They were also willing to negotiate with the NFL to allow Aaron to establish a new NFL team in Los Angeles, but their assistance with stadium construction was limited. After all, the Los Angeles City Council had just approved Philip Anschutz's construction of a multi-purpose indoor arena in downtown Los Angeles. Funding would primarily come from Anschutz Entertainment Group, AEG, which had also purchased a 25% stake in the Lakers from the Buss family. With the opening of the Cathedral of St. Vibiana, a museum funded by Aaron attended the opening ceremony with Catherine Zeta-Jones. By the way, Has the new cathedral for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles been decided? Aaron asked Archbishop Roger Mahoney, who presided over the opening ceremony. Since St. Vibiana Cathedral has become a museum, the Archdiocese of Los Angeles must need a new cathedral. Roger Mahoney smiled. The Los Angeles city government has granted the church a piece of land in the heart of the city. The Roman Catholic Church has also approved the name of the cathedral in Los Angeles to be the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels. I see, Aaron nodded. The church was not short of money, and the construction of the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels would surely be costly. Aaron, Jesus will bless you. Roger Mahoney made the sign of the cross. Aaron's expression remained unchanged. But in his heart he was unconcerned. I'm a staunch atheist. Jesus has hundreds of millions of dollars in assets. Why would I need his blessing? Even Jesus' Father, God, would have to prostrate himself before me. The Catholic Church in the United States controls vast charitable and educational resources, boasting a large following, which it leverages to influence American policy. Given its immense influence and active involvement in social issues, Aaron truly needs to maintain good relationships. Mr. Bishop, I'd like to establish an NFL team in Los Angeles. The league, given the Los Angeles market, shouldn't present any challenges. Now, I need land for a dedicated NFL stadium. Regarding the city council, I'd like the church to assist, Aaron said with a smile. Build a new stadium. Roger Mahoney glanced at Aaron. A football stadium is no different from anything else. It requires quite a bit of land. The Anschutz Group, led by Philip Anschutz, has been discussing with the city government a plan to build a new multi-purpose indoor arena in downtown Los Angeles. There doesn't seem to be a suitable location for the football stadium you're looking for in downtown Los Angeles. Aaron spread his hands. Definitely in the suburbs. How could such a large stadium be built near the city center? Hollywood Park in Inglewood seems to have plenty of land, and it's not far from Los Angeles International Airport, which is perfect. The construction of a large stadium will have a significant impact on the surrounding economic development. As for Inglewood already having an indoor arena, the Great Western Forum, so what? Construction was about to begin on the Lakers' new home in downtown Los Angeles, and the blow to the Great Western Forum would undoubtedly be devastating. The Great Western Forum belonged to the Hilton family, owned by Baron Hilton, son of Conrad Hilton. Don't worry, if you need anything, I'll help you lobby the city council. For Roger Mahoney, it was just a small matter. Besides, Roger Mahoney believed that even without the church's involvement, with Aaron Anderson's status and influence in Los Angeles, building an NFL stadium wouldn't be difficult as long as he was willing to pay. Thank you. At night, Aaron lay in bed, supporting Catherine Zeta-Jones. The Champions League final has already started, right? It's over. Dortmund defeated Juventus 3-1 and won the championship. Catherine Zeta-Jones looked charming, her long hair flying. You should pay more attention to the movies released by Dawn now. The North American box office of Liar Liar has exceeded $160 million. It has also exceeded $80 million in overseas markets. The North American box office of Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World has exceeded $170 million, and it has exceeded $200 million overseas. Aaron smiled. Men in Black will be released soon. I am very confident about this black science fiction film. Well, Catherine Zeta-Jones leaned over and kissed Aaron on the lips. Feeling the girl's heat, Aaron stroked her smooth and white back. What do you think about developing a sequel to The Mask of Zorro? Well, is Universal going to develop a sequel? Of course I will listen to you. There is a producer in the company who wants to develop a sequel. Chapter 469, Poor Preview. Aaron wasn't entirely in favor of a sequel to The Mask of Zorro. Last year, Jan de Bont, the director of Twister, had an idea for a sequel to Speed, but Aaron rejected it. According to de Bont's concept, Speed 2 would be set on a cruise ship, at sea. After the recent debacle of Waterworld, why would Universal agree to another major maritime film? After all, with the success of Waterworld and Cutthroat Island, Hollywood is definitely wary of offshore projects these days. The story of The Mask of Zorro is already quite complete. There's no need for a sequel. It would just be anticlimactic. Aaron patted the woman in his arms and whispered. Oh, I'll do as you say, said Catherine Zeta-Jones, who is now focused on preparing Chicago. She was still a little disappointed by Aaron's decision not to do a sequel to The Mask of Zorro. After all, The Mask of Zorro was the film that made her famous in Hollywood, showcasing her blend of classicism and sensuality. Aaron smiled and rubbed Catherine Zeta-Jones's chest. Don't worry, after we finish filming Chicago, I'll create a commercial action film just for you. I guarantee you'll be the talk of the town." Aaron had long prepared the idea for entrapment, but he definitely wouldn't be using the original actor, Sean Connery. After all, the original entrapment wasn't well received. If it weren't for the angelic beauty and stunning figure of Catherine Zeta-Jones, it wouldn't have been a box office success, primarily because most audiences were uncomfortable with this young-old pairing. Furthermore, the love scene between Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones was voted the second worst in film history, second only to Sharon Stone and Joe Pesci in Casino. Really? Catherine Zeta-Jones looked at Aaron intently, her eyes gleaming. Aaron rolled over, pressing himself against Catherine Zeta-Jones, his hands caressing her voluptuous figure. "Of course, when the time comes, I'll let the whole world feel your sexiness and grace. I'll also showcase your flexibility, which is your great advantage." Yes, Catherine Zeta-Jones was naturally delighted, and then she hugged the man tightly, saying seductively, "Aaron, let's continue." As June arrived, the Houston Rockets defeated the Utah Jazz 4-3 in the Western Conference Finals, setting up a meeting with the Eastern Conference champion Chicago Bulls. However, Aaron wasn't focused on the NBA Finals at the time. Instead, he was attending the first preview of Titanic at the Man Country Theater in Westwood, Los Angeles. It's truly the most expensive film ever. "Even you and Mr. Murdoch are here," Nicole Kidman couldn't help but exclaim as she walked into the theater's lounge, arm in arm with Aaron. "This movie cost $200 million to make." Aaron pulled Nicole Kidman over and sat her on his lap. "Why, hasn't filming started on Notting Hill yet?" Nicole Kidman smiled and kissed Aaron on the cheek. "It's almost time. I'll be back in London next week." James Cameron, the director of Titanic, and the actresses Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet were all in the theater hall, enjoying the film with the audience. "Are you confident in this Titanic?" Aaron nodded. "Yes, James Cameron's ability is worthy of recognition." With that, Aaron hugged Nicole Kidman and kissed her, enjoying the tenderness. As Titanic was screened, the audience's reaction to the 3.5-hour rough cut was clearly poor during the previews. The film's slow pace in the middle section even caused the audience to doze off during the screening. "Aaron, what do you think?" In the theater's office, Rupert Murdoch looked out the window at the audience's reaction, his face sullen. "Adjustments and improvements are necessary. Titanic is released during the Christmas season, so there's still time." The audience's reaction is clear. "We need to convince James Cameron to make extensive edits and adjust the film's running time to 3.5 hours. It's too long." Based on the feedback, Titanic needs to cut some redundant plot points and unnecessary scenes, and recalibrate the narrative rhythm to highlight the love story between the protagonists Jack and Rose, as well as the thrilling sinking of the Titanic. Also, the soundtrack needs to be optimized to enhance the emotional impact of the music. 20th Century Fox accounted for the lion's share of the investment in Titanic, but Sugan also contributed a significant amount. With a production cost of $65 million and a further $30 million in marketing expenses, even if 20th Century Fox ultimately earned more, the North American market was more than enough for Sugan. Rupert Murdoch nodded, "I'm sure James Cameron will listen to these suggestions." James Cameron couldn't afford the failure of a $200 million film. The media had already been skeptical of Titanic, and the test screenings had left him even more uncertain. Aaron, on the other hand, seemed relaxed. "Let's wait until James Cameron re-edits and recomposes the film, and then see how the test screenings go." It was unacceptable to let the audience doze off during a movie. Fox News and Fox Sports both launched last year, and Rupert Murdoch's current focus was on Fox. He had come specifically to attend the first preview of Titanic because of the film's enormous investment. 2 years ago, Universal's Waterworld suffered heavy losses, but the Waterworld attraction at Universal Studios is now incredibly popular. It could be said that even though Waterworld lost money, the IP attracted a lot of visitors, and Universal Studios could definitely make up for the losses elsewhere. 20th Century Fox doesn't have any movie theme parks. "Aaron, would you like to accompany an old man like me to dinner?" Aaron shook his head and glanced at Nicole Kidman, who was not far away. "Maybe another time, Mr. Murdoch. I have a date." Rupert Murdoch smiled. "There's really no need to worry about one's current performance. Have a wonderful night." Of course, the previews for Titanic would be handled by specialized personnel. People like Aaron Anderson and Rupert Murdoch only had to wait for the results. Chapter 470: The Failed Superhero. Santa Monica, Pacific Palisades. Nicole Kidman lazily leaned in Aaron's arms, beads of sweat dotted her fair skin, her face flushed. "Aaron, the investment in Titanic is so high, you don't seem to care much." Aaron smiled, reaching out and stroking Nicole Kidman's sexy and graceful body. "Care? 20th Century Fox invested more in the Titanic project than we did. If the movie fails, they will be the most upset. For Don, it's just the failure of a big movie. Don can totally afford it. News Corporation has invested heavily in cable television networks in the past 2 years, with Fox News and Fox Sports launching one after another. The failure of 20th Century Fox's project is what Aaron wants to see." "That's true," Nicole Kidman agreed with Aaron's thoughts. "Dawn has its own hits every year, so if one or two fail, it really won't have much of an impact." Then, as if thinking of something else, Nicole Kidman said, "Hey, I heard you discovered another new Australian actress, Kate Blanchett, I think. You cast her in Jim Carrey's The Truman Show?" "Yes, she's a talented actress with solid foundation." Aaron reached out and ruffled Nicole Kidman's blonde hair. "There are indeed many excellent Australian actors, of course. Nicole Kidman herself is a representative example of this. And of course, there are Australian-born actors like Mel Gibson and Russell Crowe, who has been quite active in Hollywood lately." "Yes, there are quite a few. There are more and more Australian actors coming to Hollywood. I've met them on various occasions. This group of Australian actors coming to Hollywood is quite united. Baz Luhrmann, the Australian director of Romeo plus Juliet, is also quite good. I think Dawn Global will have to strengthen its collaboration with Australian filmmakers in the future." Aaron's reputation for discovering foreign tour guides remains quite strong. "We're working with quite a few now," Nicole Kidman smiled, then bowed. Aaron breathed, reaching out to stroke Nicole Kidman's blonde hair. With the release of the sci-fi comedy Men in Black, produced by Universal, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, and starring Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, it grossed $51 million in its first weekend in 3,030 theaters. Men in Black and its unique and novel concept have garnered widespread acclaim. The film depicts a fascinating setting of aliens hiding among Earth's human society. The diverse and imaginative designs of the alien creatures, each with a unique appearance, abilities, and cultural background, offer audiences an unprecedented visual experience and novelty, expanding the realm of imagination in science fiction films. Los Angeles Times, the humorous style of Men in Black cleverly combines science fiction elements with comedy styles. The various unexpected and funny plots in the film, as well as the humorous dialogues between the characters, allow the audience to laugh easily in the tense and exciting science fiction atmosphere, adding to the fun of watching the movie and avoiding the heaviness that traditional science fiction movies may bring. The Hollywood Reporter, the exciting action scenes are eye-catching. The action scenes in the film are compact and exciting, with a good rhythm, variety. The performances of the two leading actors Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black are wonderful. Will Smith injects vitality and humor into the role with his sunny and handsome image and highly contagious performance style, while Tommy Lee Jones uses his calm and restrained performance to create the image of an experienced and mysterious veteran agent. The chemistry between the two is great, and the partnership adds a lot of highlights to the film. Released at the same time as Men in Black is Warner Bros. Sequel Batman and Robin. The first week box office was $42.8 million. This sequel, directed by Joel Schumacher and starring Hollywood stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone and others, has received a lot of criticism. The New Yorker: "The plot of Batman and Robin is too simple and empty, lacking depth and logic. Multiple villains appear in the movie at the same time, but the storyline of each villain is not fully developed, resulting in a disorganized plot that makes it difficult for the audience to resonate emotionally, and the development of the story is also relatively flat, without enough ups and downs and suspense to attract the audience." Empire: "The characters in the film are single and lack a sense of layering. Batman and Robin are more of a vehicle for showing off their muscles and high-tech equipment in the film, and their personalities are not distinct enough. At the same time, the villains are overly exaggerated and caricatured, reduced to pure humor and tools for doing evil, losing the complexity and deterrence they should have." The San Francisco Chronicle commented, "The film's overemphasis on exaggeration and comedy deviates significantly from the Batman series' traditionally dark and serious tone. This stylistic imbalance completely undermines the series' original tone, making the film appear out of place." As the fourth installment in Warner Bros. DC Batman series, Batman and Robin received widespread negative reviews. Warner Brothers was surprised by the widespread negative reviews. From the plot, the actors' performances, to the change in style, the film was utterly terrible. George Clooney as Batman and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze were particularly awful. Chris O'Donnell's performance as Robin was also a questionable outcome, and it's unclear whether this will affect Armageddon, Burbank, Dawn headquarters. Aaron sat in his office. Has New Line's Blade project started filming yet? Dawn Steele nodded. It's already started. After all, it's the first official Marvel Comics adaptation, so we should keep an eye on it. Marvel Comics had previously adapted several films, but they were low-budget and haphazard. With Marvel Studios' involvement, Blade was produced according to the Hollywood commercial film model. Dawn Steele lamented, "The reputation of Batman and Robin has made many people lose confidence in superhero adaptations. Will this affect our upcoming Spider-Man?" Dawn's Spider-Man project had been in the works for several years. Chapter 471 One Light and One Dark. With The Lost World of Jurassic Park and Men in Black raking in the box office, Aaron was actually taking a wait-and-see approach to Warner Brothers' Batman and Robin. Regardless of everyone's opinions on superhero adaptations, Dawn Global's development of the Spider-Man project would certainly not cease. Meanwhile, the finals between the Houston Rockets and the Chicago Bulls concluded, with the Chicago Bulls defeating the Houston Rockets 4-2, securing their second consecutive championship. At the Wilshire Grand Hotel in Los Angeles, Jack Wells lamented, "The Rockets were just so close. Dennis Rodman shouldn't have been traded to the Bulls." Aaron took a sip of his wine. "The Bulls won the championship this year, that's enough. Let's try again next year, the draft is coming up soon. Didn't we trade Kevin Johnson from the Raptors for a first-round pick? It's probably the 9th pick. We'll just have to pick a good player in a few days." Kevin Johnson was a 3-time All-Star with the Suns before being traded after an injury mid-season. As for Tim Duncan, the one everyone's eyeing, he definitely has nothing to do with the Rockets. The San Antonio Spurs secured the first pick, the Philadelphia 76ers secured the second pick, and the Boston Celtics secured the third pick. The Rockets needed to find a good co-star for Shaquille O'Neal, given the aging Clyde Drexler and Charles Barkley. Jack Wells smiled. 9th? A bit tough, but not bad. By the way, the Los Angeles Lakers just signed Hakeem Olajuwon from the Suns to a 4-year, $55 million contract. Last season, the Los Angeles Lakers barely missed the playoffs due to poor results in ticket sales. Now that Los Angeles is planning to build a new arena, they need a big-name star to boost their influence. The Suns are preparing to rebuild and have not renewed the contract with 34-year-old Hakeem Olajuwon. Hearing Hakeem Olajuwon, Aaron showed no expression. "The Bulls are preparing to hit for their 6th championship next season, but I won't agree to that. Their main players are all 1 year older, and Sticko Pippen is also in conflict with the management because of salary issues, and Coach Jackson is also at odds with the general manager. As for us, the team has been running in for a season, and things are getting smoother. During the off-season, if there is a need for reinforcement, we must do so. After all, Charles Barkley's contract is due to expire next year." Jack Wells nodded. "Don't worry, the team has a strong desire to win the championship now. This year's finals between the Rockets and the Bulls was extremely exciting. After Michael Jordan returned, the NBA's ratings were indeed much higher. You know, in the 2 years since Michael Jordan retired, the ratings for the finals when the Rockets won were 1/3 lower than the ratings for the finals when the Bulls won before." Aaron leaned back in his chair. "Okay, the main reason I asked you to come here today is to discuss forming an NFL team in Los Angeles. The league has approved the reconstruction of the Cleveland Browns. For the sake of balance, it has also agreed to form another team to make up 32 teams. Now, it's mainly the two cities of Houston and Los Angeles competing." Aaron spread his hands. "The market in Los Angeles is not comparable to that of Houston. Now it's mainly a problem of the stadium. The reason why the NFL approved the reconstruction of the Cleveland Browns is mainly because Cleveland has already built a new stadium in Cleveland." Jack Wells asked, "How did your talks with the Los Angeles city government go?" Aaron shrugged. "Of course I agreed. I plan to build a dedicated NFL stadium in Hollywood Park in Inglewood. Now, I need to deal with the Inglewood Community Council, approve the land, and get them to support me in building a new stadium." Jack Wells knocked on the table. "Let's use the old method. One open and one secret. You use the media, and I'll send people to contact those troublemakers." Aaron nodded. "I have created the Anderson Sports and Entertainment Group, which is responsible for the formation of new NFL teams. The Houston Rockets and the Houston Dons Center are also incorporated into Anderson Sports. If this new NFL team in Los Angeles is successful, my position in Los Angeles will be more stable in the future. Jackwell's mouth twitched. The investment this time should be considerable, right? Building a new large stadium in Los Angeles is not cheap. Aaron smiled. The total investment is $750 million, and the stadium will be the bulk of it. However, this time I'll be selling the stadium naming rights to raise funds. In late June, Aaron traveled to New York to attend the NFL's expansion conference. Los Angeles, represented by Aaron Anderson, and Houston, represented by Bob McNair, were competing for the expansion slot. Each team, with the support of their respective governments, presented their team construction plans and stadium feasibility reports to the league. The league would investigate and make the overall decision. Meanwhile, the 1997 NBA draft took place in Charlotte, North Carolina. The San Antonio Spurs used the first pick without hesitation to select Tim Duncan from Wake Forest University. The Philadelphia 76ers used the second pick to draft Keith Van Horn from the University of Utah, while the Boston Celtics used the third pick to draft Chauncey Billups from the University of Colorado. The Houston Rockets, using the ninth pick acquired through a trade, signed high school shooting guard Tracy McGrady. After signing Tracy McGrady, Aaron was still a little excited. Would the combination with Shaquille O'Neal be formidable? New York, Manhattan, Dawn Tower. Aaron leaned back in his chair, his thoughts already drifting to Asia. Hong Kong was about to officially return, and the international hedge fund attacks on the Thai baht were overwhelming the Thai government. The Thai government was powerless to halt the baht's decline. They were out of foreign currency. The day was not far off when the Thai government would abandon its fixed exchange rate system and adopt a floating one. With Edgar Irving monitoring the foreign exchange and stock markets of Southeast Asian countries, Aaron didn't have to worry much. With such a great opportunity, Aaron was confident his returns would be substantial. He not only shorted the Thai baht, Philippine peso, and Malaysian ringgit in the foreign exchange market, but also aggressively bought short in the futures market. Next up was South Korea. Aaron's face was filled with joy, leaving even Christiana Yeri, who had just entered, stunned. "Aaron, you seem to be in a particularly good mood today." Aaron nodded. "Yeah, I can't help but want to dance a cha-cha." Christiana Yeri smiled and kissed the man on the cheek. "Then tonight, let's go to the bar to celebrate." Chapter 472 Bad Luck. Early morning, Manhattan, Upper East Side, New York. Aaron lay in bed, smiling as he put down his phone. Yesterday, July 2nd, Thailand announced it was abandoning its fixed exchange rate system in favor of a floating one. The Thai baht had already lost 20% of its value in a single day. "Asia, it's begun," Aaron muttered, kissing Christiana Yeri in his arms. "I need to go to the office." Christiana Yeri returned the kiss. "Go ahead." With the Thai baht giving up, the financial crisis quickly spread throughout Southeast Asia, and even to all Asian countries and regions with freely convertible currencies. A week later, after 4 unsuccessful interest rate hikes, the Philippine Central Bank announced it would allow the Philippine peso to fluctuate more widely, causing it to depreciate significantly. At the Culver Hotel in Los Angeles, Aaron met with Inglewood Borough Council Representative Preston Hawk to discuss plans for a new stadium. Los Angeles needs an NFL team, and a new high-tech stadium will greatly promote the economic development of the Inglewood area. In addition to solving unemployment and boosting the economy, we will also participate in community infrastructure construction, alleviate security problems, and so on. Aaron leaned back on the sofa. Mr. Hawk, you know, this is also the idea of the people in the entire Los Angeles area. Preston Hawk looked at Aaron and put forward his own dilemma. However, the construction of a new stadium will occupy a lot of community public land and part of the residents' land. At the same time, the impact on the surrounding residents after the stadium is built cannot be ignored, and life will definitely change. Finally, after the stadium is completed, it will definitely affect the price of nearby houses, which will increase the cost of renting a house. Aaron spread his hands. The economy needs to develop, and the cost of living will definitely increase, but their income will also increase, compared to the advantages. These disadvantages are not worth mentioning. Preston Hawk nodded. I support the new stadium plan, but I still have to discuss it with other community council members. We can only obtain land approval after we obtain the support of most council members. Aaron smiled. Well, Mr. Hawk's efforts have certainly paid off. I heard Mr. Hawk is planning to run for Los Angeles Controller. Right, Preston Hawk's eyes lit up. Mr. Anderson, any suggestions? Aaron took a sip of his wine. I know some people on the city council. Perhaps they can give Mr. Hawk some help. Preston Hawk smiled. Thank you, Mr. Anderson, for your support. After returning to Los Angeles, Aaron, with the support of the Los Angeles city government, began planning for the new stadium and also sought to reach out to representatives of the Inglewood community. Meanwhile, after meeting with Mr. Otis Chandler, the Times Mirror Group, run by his family, began to tout the benefits of the new stadium for Los Angeles. Remember, the Times Mirror Group owns one of the largest daily newspapers in the United States, the Los Angeles Times. Burbank, Dawn headquarters. Charlize Theron was injured on the set of Acted. Aaron heard Esther Beckett's report. Yes, an old knee injury recurred. She had been injured there before, so she switched from a ballet dancer to a model. Does it have any impact on the filming of Armageddon? Esther Beckett shook her head. It has no impact on the movie. After all, many of the upcoming scenes are shot with green screens and special effects scenes. It's mainly Chicago. Charlize Theron's old knee injury was caused by excessive training. After all, our Chicago is a musical with a lot of dance shots. Aaron leaned back in his chair. What does Rob Marshall think? Rob Marshall is the director of Chicago. Change the actor. After all, filming of Chicago is about to start in 2 months, and Charlize Theron should have difficulty adapting. Aaron thought for a moment and said, then let Jennifer Connelly go. She previously worked with Catherine Zeta-Jones on My Best Friend's Wedding, and this reunion will also be a publicity stunt. And Jennifer Connelly has also starred in the action film Speed, so some dance scenes won't be a problem. Besides, Jennifer Connelly is much more famous than Charlize Theron now. Esther Beckett nodded. I'll take care of it right away. After Esther Beckett left, Aaron could only say that Charlize Theron was unlucky, but after all, she had starred in 2 of Dawn's works. Scream 2 will be released on Halloween this year, and Armageddon will be released in the summer of next year, which is enough. In the evening, at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills, Aaron attended a business cocktail party. I discussed the NFL club with Otis Chandler, chairman of the Times Mirror Group. It would be a crime if Los Angeles didn't have an NFL team, Otis Chandler smiled. The stadium issue is a difficult one to solve. The Los Angeles Rams and Raiders both relocated because the government couldn't provide suitable venues. Aaron spread his hands. We can just build our own. Otis Chandler smiled but remained silent. Sports clubs aren't doing very well these days. Building a large stadium in Los Angeles would require a significant investment, and many would undoubtedly be reluctant. However, Aaron Anderson, as California's richest man, didn't have to worry about that. I heard the NFL will hold a referendum by the end of the year, and Houston and Los Angeles are the 2 most likely candidates. You seem very confident. Aaron nodded. The NFL isn't stupid. Who would object to the Los Angeles market? Even if Anderson Sports owned the Houston Rockets, the allure of establishing an NFL team in Los Angeles would surely be irresistible. Aaron, the newspaper says Bob McNair has secured $150 million in backing from the Houston Cowboys. Hasn't it been your idea to secure some sponsorship in Los Angeles? Otis Chandler doubted Aaron Anderson would come up with the money himself. The cost of building a new team and a new stadium would surely be astronomical. Aaron shrugged. Wells Fargo and Bank of America are both interested in naming the new stadium. The NFL has also suggested I raise funds through season ticket sales. Given Los Angeles' spending power, that shouldn't be difficult. Honestly, Aaron didn't really worry about funding. He'd sell the stadium naming rights to a bank, and he'd still have to borrow money from it. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473 Reversal and Suspense. Sophie Marceau arrived at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. Having just attended the premiere of Air Force One at Universal City, she had come to the hotel specifically to look for Aaron. How was the premiere of Air Force One? Aaron asked as they arrived at their Four Seasons suite. Sophie Marceau replied perfunctorily, it was alright. Commercial action films like this are just popcorn flicks. Do you expect high praise from critics? Aaron smiled and kissed Sophie Marceau on the cheek. Air Force One is a film about American values and heroism. It's all about the action and visuals, and the thrilling plot. As for the rest, the illogical storyline, The political intentions, the propaganda, and so on, they didn't matter. Most audiences would buy into the celebration of the American spirit. It was a political tribute. Sophie Marceau held Aaron in her arms and lay down on the bed, taking off their clothes. The rivalry between Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman in the movie was quite unforgettable. They are both excellent actors. After all, Sophie Marceau and Harrison Ford had worked together in the action film The Man Who Shores a few years ago. Aaron leaned on Sophie Marceau and kissed the girl, feeling each other's sexiness and charm. In the first half of the spring season, Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt collaborated on the thriller crime film The Devil Runs, directed by Alan J. Pakula, who also directed The Pelicans. However, the reviews of The Devil Run were mixed, and the word of mouth was very mediocre. Moreover, the $80 million investment only brought in more than $40 million in North America and a total of $140 million in the global box office. Harrison Ford is very suitable for starring in this kind of mainstream American movie, which will always have good box office. Aaron looked at Sophie Marceau under him, feeling the softness of the girl. For this type of work, I have a rather average evaluation of him. He is the representative of American heroes. What kind of acting skills do action stars need? Sophie Marceau smiled. I am currently filming a romantic movie, City of Angels, and the leading actor Nicolas Cage seems very good. His acting skills are very explosive, and he fits the character very well. Aaron leaned close to the girl's chest and said in a muffled voice, Nicolas Cage? He has been honing his acting skills in art films before. But he is an Oscar winner. He is different from commercial action stars like Harrison Ford. That's right. Sophie Marceau held Aaron's head and rubbed it. I heard from the producer that a love movie is also being filmed in New York, and the male and female protagonists are Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. The name is electric. Aaron raised his head, turned over, and Sophie Marceau sat on the man. I know, it's a work written and directed by Nora Ephron, a Warner Brothers movie. A few years ago, I collaborated with a new director, Nora Ephron, on Sleepless in Seattle, and it was a great success. It seems that these two love movies will have a head-on confrontation next year. After all, they are starring two Oscar winners. The heroines of the two movies are American Sweetheart and French Kiss respectively. Well, Air Force One opens nationwide this Friday. You should keep an eye on the box office, Sophie Marceau said, leaning over and kissing Aaron on the lips. With the official release of Air Force One, it opened in 920 theaters across North America over its first 3 days, grossing $37.1 million. The film is captivating, but word of mouth is truly mediocre. After all, the political propaganda is excessive. In Dawn's office in Burbank, Tom Rothman recommended a very appealing script to Aaron. The Sixth Sense, a script written by the young Indian-American director M. Night Shyamalan. The story tells of a famous psychologist who was shot, but he himself did not realize that he was dead, but helped a child psychiatric patient to overcome his fear. In the end, because the child was a person who could see ghosts, the psychologist finally realized the fact that he was dead. A psychological drama, and there is a huge twist at the end. No wonder it is worth $3 million. Yes, although the screenwriter of The Sixth Sense is only a 27-year-old Indian-American new director, who has only shot a work worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, but this script The Sixth Sense aroused the interest of many producers, and Universal acquired it at a high price after bidding. Tom, is there a condition for buying the script? Tom Rothman nodded. This M. Night Shyamalan wants to direct it himself. This guy comes from a wealthy family. During college, his family sponsored him more than $700,000 to make a movie. Aaron knocked on the table. No problem, M. Night Shyamalan can direct it. This script is indeed exciting enough, and the final reversal is really shocking. As he spoke, Aaron took out a novel and continued, this is sent by David Fincher. It is a novel called Fight Club by a freelance journalist, Chuck Palahniuk. It's also a suspense novel. David Fincher wants to adapt it, and Chuck Palahniuk also supports the adaptation of his novel into a movie. The novel Fight Club tells the story of Jack, a car insurance man who is experiencing a midlife crisis, who met Taylor, a soap merchant. The two founded a fight club where they can vent their emotions, but then Taylor's behavior became more and more crazy. When Jack tried to stop Taylor, he found that Taylor was actually another self. David Fincher, The Game, which he directed for Polygram last year, won't be released until September of this year, a new project now. David Fincher's ability to handle suspense films is very high. The success of S7N has already established his status. However, David Fincher is very strict in selecting scripts, and his main focus is on suspense themes. Yet, since David Fincher wants to adapt Fight Club, I still believe in his ability. Well, when Aaron saw the script for The Sixth Sense, the first choice for director in his mind was actually David Fincher. However, since screenwriter M. Night Shyamalan had the qualifications to direct, there was nothing he could do. Don couldn't miss such a wonderful script, right? The script price of $3 million is the top price in Hollywood. Aaron believed that as long as Don said it wanted to give up, other film companies would immediately take over. Tom Rothman nodded, "Then I'll find someone to prepare as soon as possible." Chapter 474 European commercial film. Universal's comedy Liar Liar, starring Jim Carrey, grossed $180 million in North America and $120 million overseas, bringing its global total to $300 million. The Lost World of Jurassic Park has already surpassed $220 million in North America, bringing its global total to over $600 million. Furthermore, with Men in Black and Air Force One currently in theaters, Don's box office dominance remains strong. Next up is John Woo's action blockbuster Face Off, starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. One night, Aaron was hanging out with Jennifer Connelly at a bar in West Hollywood when they ran into Charles Johnson, chairman of the Franklin Templeton Fund. "Aaron, congratulations. You must have made some good money in the Southeast Asian market, right?" Charles Johnson smiled, clinking glasses with Aaron. "People like us are just playing small. It's the specialized hedge funds like Quantum and Tiger Management that make the real money." Aaron had indeed made a lot of money, primarily due to his sheer audacity and recklessness. "By the way, how's the Saks Fifth Avenue project going?" Aaron commissioned the Franklin Templeton Fund to acquire Saks Fifth Avenue. Charles Johnson took a sip of his wine. "They're interested in selling, and we're currently evaluating their assets. When the time comes, we'll acquire shares from several shareholders. According to our investigation, as long as you own more than 35% of the shares, you'll become a major shareholder in Saks Fifth Avenue." Aaron tapped his knee. "Saks Fifth Avenue is worth at least $1 billion, right?" Charles Johnson nodded. "There are over 30 stores across the United States, all in the heart of major cities. $1 billion, no more." Aaron smiled. "It looks like I'll have to prepare at least $400 to $500 million this time." Furthermore, Aaron was currently planning to establish an NFL team in Los Angeles, which also required a massive sum of money. Charles Johnson shrugged. "Maybe not that much? Saks Fifth Avenue is also in trouble. After you complete the acquisition, you can integrate and list it. You shouldn't be short of funds. After all, Aaron had previous success with Victoria's Secret lingerie, and Saks Fifth Avenue's shareholders wouldn't object to Aaron's acquisition." "Well, there's still time. My plan is to officially acquire it early next year." After all, Aaron had more important things to do next. "I see. I heard that after Southeast Asia, you're targeting South Korea. Why not Hong Kong?" Charles Johnson was puzzled. After all, Hong Kong had just returned to power, and the real estate market was extremely bubbly. Aaron spread his hands. "It's hard to say. I'm worried because Hong Kong has returned. Korea is my opportunity." The Los Angeles night, with its flashing neon lights, presented a scene of extravagance and decadence. Aaron, returning to his Malibu beach house with Jennifer Connelly, felt a little languid. "Honey, I've read the script for Chicago, and there's no problem dancing for my role." Jennifer Connelly, clad in a sexy bikini, approached Aaron by the pool in the villa's courtyard. "Well, you're familiar with working with Catherine Zeta-Jones. Anyway, we can have a longer shoot. This is Don's first musical." Aaron, leaning back on a beach chair, pulled the sexy Jennifer Connelly into his arms. Her impressive 34D figure was incredibly hot. Jennifer Connelly leaned into the man's arms and kissed him. "Do you know The Fifth Element?" The sci-fi film by French director Luc Besson. It's both critically acclaimed and box office stellar. After its premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, it grossed $260 million worldwide, directed by Luc Besson and starring Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, and Mila Jovovich. This French sci-fi film is a benchmark for European blockbusters. With its grand and exquisite set pieces, dazzling visual effects, and vibrant cinematic style, The Fifth Element not only broke French box office records but also became a representative work of the French fusion of art and commerce. Despite its impressive success, The Fifth Element performed poorly in North America, grossing just over $60 million and receiving numerous negative reviews. Empire, The Fifth Element is a work different from any previous film, ignoring genre conventions. The film's shortcomings are conceptual overload, a bit too much comedy, and a loss of control over the story. The Hollywood Reporter, Luc Besson and Gaumont Film Company have produced a chaotic American blockbuster. The Fifth Element is visually monotonous and orally overpowering. It is a superposition of wrong elements and some rather stupid elements. Chicago Tribune. The film is so clumsy and absurd that it is not surprising to learn that the script of the film was written by the director in his teenage years. The New York Times. The Fifth Element proves that Luc Besson's lofty ambitions and technical expertise have made him one of France's most well-known young directors, but also made him France's worst nightmare. The film does not value the coherence of the plot and values empty excitement rather than rationality. Aaron caressed the girl in his arms, untied a bikini casually, and felt a 34D. Commercially speaking, The Fifth Element must be a success. It is epoch-making for European films. After all, it is also a French-style Hollywood blockbuster. It has set a good example for European films to fight against Hollywood. Of course, The Fifth Element must be a mess for Hollywood filmmakers and the French literary and art circles. Hollywood dislikes it for not being commercial enough, and the French literary and art circles dislike it for being over-commercial. By the way, Luc Besson is married to Milla Jovovich, the heroine of The Fifth Element, right? Aaron suddenly asked. After all, that is the future heroine of Resident Evil. Yes, he and this young Russian actress got together completely when they were filming The Fifth Element. Jennifer Connelly smiled. After all, lead actor Bruce Willis had said in an interview that Luc Besson and Milla Jovovich were inseparable on the set. Leon, The Professional and The Fifth Element are two Hollywood-style works. Luc Besson's title as France's top commercial director is set in stone. Chapter 475, Attitude Towards DreamWorks. With the arrival of August, the action blockbuster Face Off, directed by Chinese-American director John Woo and starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, was released. It grossed $25 million in North America in its first 3 days, earning rave reviews. Face Off is a film with a unique and ingenious conception. Through the face-swapping of a secret agent and a terrorist, the identity shift creates a thrilling and dramatic plot. It also explores human nature, with the protagonist struggling between good and evil, prompting viewers to ponder themes of identity, good and evil, and self-perception. Of course, Face Off most importantly embodies John Woo's signature aesthetic of violence. The film's gunfights are not only visually striking, but also utilize slow-motion sequences, symmetrical compositions, and flying white doves to imbue the otherwise brutal and bloody scenes with a poetic and romantic quality. Coupled with the iconic performances of its two lead actors, John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, Face Off has become John Woo's signature Hollywood film. John Travolta's joining the cast of Chicago Next, Pulp Fiction, Broken Arrow, Face Off, and Chicago. It seems he's definitely connected to Don. In the Universal City office, Aaron leaned back in his chair with a smile. Elsaline Beckett explained, "We've collaborated with Nicolas Cage quite a bit, too. By the way, I heard John Woo is producing a low-budget action film for Sony, using a Hong Kong actor as the lead, right?" Aaron was referring to Chow Yun-fat's first Hollywood film, The Replacement Killers. Yes, a lot of filmmakers are coming from Hong Kong to Hollywood these days. In the first half of the year, Sony released the action film The King's Avatar, directed by Hong Kong director Tsui Hark and starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman, but it only grossed over $10 million and received poor reviews. This time, The Replacement Killers uses Hong Kong actors and a Hollywood director. As Aaron's assistant at One Global, Esther Beckett keeps a close eye on all the news in the film and television industry. Jack Cheng and Will Smith starred in Rush Hour last year, which was a huge success. A sequel is possible. Talk to them as soon as possible. Aaron knew that Will Smith's value had skyrocketed following the success of Men in Black. Furthermore, Jack Cheng's value was also high, and if a sequel was planned, his salary would undoubtedly be astronomical. Since its release, Don's Men in Black has grossed over $220 million in North America and $300 million overseas. Even if Men in Black doesn't eclipse The Lost World of Jurassic Park at the global box office by the time it's finally released, the difference won't be too far. Jack Cheng is currently filming an action film, Who Am I?, for Golden Harvest Films in Hong Kong. They're shooting a lot of overseas locations. Rush Hour 2 won't officially start until next year, Aaron nodded. Rush Hour 2 is tentatively scheduled for release the year after next, when Universal Studios Japan will open. The story of Rush Hour 2 must be filmed at Universal Studios Japan. This was Aaron's plan long ago. When Universal Studios Japan opened in 1999, he would leverage Jack Chang's Rush Hour 2 for promotion. Given Jack Chang's immense popularity in Japan, the publicity was sure to be effective. Of course, Esther Beckett had no objection. It wouldn't be a problem for Rush Hour 2 to be filmed in Asia. After finishing speaking, Aaron seemed to suddenly think of something and asked, "Isn't there a new kung fu star named Jet Li coming to Hong Kong? I remember that Chu Guang's film library also includes the 2 kung fu movies starring him in the Once Upon a Time in China series that we purchased before." Jet Li's fame in Asia is second only to Jack Chang. He is very skilled and there are suitable action film projects to support him, Esther Beckett thought for a while. At the Cannes Film Festival this year, Twilight Pictures purchased a Hong Kong urban science fiction action film starring Jet Li, which seems to be called Black Mask. It's a bit similar to the dark style of Batman. Aaron also remembered Black Mask. When he was in Hong Kong before, Wang Xiuxin had specifically mentioned it to him. Also, Warner Brothers is preparing a sequel to Lethal Weapon 4, and it seems that they are inviting Jet Li to play a villain. The people in the company think that Jet Li may be well known in Hollywood because of Lethal Weapon 4, so they bought the North American distribution rights of Black Mask. At that time, Black Mask and the 2 Once Upon a Time in China will be arranged to be released in North America. Aaron knocked on the table. No wonder it turned out to be Warner Bros.' Lethal Weapon 4. Jet Li is a kung fu star and is more easily accepted by Hollywood. Let's see if Quentin Tarantino has any such Chinese kung fu projects. Jet Li's future is still promising, Esther Beckett nodded. Currently Quentin Tarantino has just directed a crime film Dangerous Liaisons for Twilight Pictures, which will be released on Christmas at the end of the year. In recent years, he and director Robert Rodriguez have been very close, co-directing new films or guest starring in each other's works. Robert Rodriguez is the director of 3 Steps to a Kill, and last year, Quentin Tarantino starred in his film From Dusk Till Dawn. Robert Rodriguez is a director with a distinctly genre-defining style, and he and Quentin Tarantino certainly have a lot in common. Since Pulp Fiction, this guy hasn't produced any good work. Aaron shook his head. By the way, let's reject this Little Soldiers project from DreamWorks. Little Soldiers is a sci-fi adaptation of Hasbro toys, but the script is filled with Hasbro toys mocking and humiliating Mattel Barbie dolls. In Aaron's view, it's nothing more than a Hasbro commercial, and DreamWorks' attempt to collaborate with Universal is sheer nonsense. What's the current situation with Universal? Why would a leading Hollywood company compromise its status to produce a lackluster commercial? Besides, Su Guang's current collaboration with DreamWorks Animation is primarily focused on animated feature films. DreamWorks lacks overseas distribution capabilities, so Su Guang Global International is primarily responsible for DreamWorks Animation's international distribution. After all, Disney is the go-to for international animated film distribution, so how could Jeffrey Katzenberg possibly collaborate with Disney? Su Guang's Pixar, which shot to fame with Toy Story, also made Su Guang famous in the animation field. Aaron would undoubtedly be happy to collaborate with DreamWorks Animation. As for live-action films, with Aaron in charge, Steven Spielberg's fame wouldn't have any impact. Furthermore, DreamWorks productions tend to be lavish, and Steven Spielberg's commissions are extremely high, so Su Guang has no need to collaborate with him. Pixar's animated feature films are limited in supply, and Su Guang desperately needs them to fill the market. Currently, Su Guang Global International collects an 8% commission on each DreamWorks Animation film's international distribution. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.